everybody, welcome to another MCU movie of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's come to bargain with me tonight?
Fluent in Google Translate, Michael K. Hughes.
And I'm Bill. Just Bill. You know, like Adele or Bono or Wong. No?
Okay, that was good.
Mr. Dr. Bill.
I guess Dr. Bill. Yeah.
Mr. Doctor. Oh, God, that was funny. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right, and we're tired. That's why this intro is not normally up to our caliber, I feel like. And I'm just like, what's going on? Where am I?
You don't have caliber. What are you talking about?
There are no standards on the show. If you listen to previous, 15 incarnations of this series, you should know that we hold ourselves to literally no standard whatsoever.
This is the 14th movie that we're covering for the MCU.
Well, we did cover one in between Phase 1 and Phase 2, so this would be 15, wouldn't it?
Okay.
We cover, because there was Spider-Verse and there was also Sin City.
Oh, yeah, which would be out by now.
Yep.
Yes, it would.
I think you're just trying to forget Sin City happened.
Not familiar with that?
Yeah.
that game by Maxis back in the day, I loved Sin City.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange, the 1978 TV movie.
Oh.
I watched the wrong thing.
2016 film. I wanted to make that joke. With Benedict Cumberbatch. I forgot there was a TV movie for it until I was Googling just now. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they didn't make a shitty... Well, I'm assuming it's a shitty movie because it's 1978. But
based on the Marvel property?
Yeah.
No shit.
Wow.
It's back when they had the Hulk and all that. Like, even one of the Hulk movies had... I'm pretty sure one of the Hulk movies has Doctor Strange in it.
Huh. I hope it's as good as the Captain America movie from back then.
Oh, God, those are bad. They're really bad movies. So, all right, enough of that. So we are talking about Doctor Strange, 2016 film, directed by Scott Derrickson, whoever the hell that is.
Yeah, it's funny. I looked him up real quick before the show here. He's a horror director of all the crazy things. Like his main thing he directed is horror. His first major one was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. So he directed that. And then he did such classes as Sinister and Deliver Us from Evil and wrote a bunch of other stuff, produced a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, he's mainly known for horror. So this is kind of a bit of a left turn for him, even though his writing work has been a little more conventional. So yeah, I mean...
That's interesting.
He kind of looks like Andy McNamara on his IMDb picture.
Does he? Oh yeah, wow, he does like Andy McNamara.
I mean, I guess the next Doctor Strange movie probably will be a horror movie, I'm assuming.
Well, he is not directing that. He is produced it though. He's producing it.
Oh, okay.
Which means he's basically paying for it.
It works so well for X-Men. You might as well just go horror.
I did not get that reference.
You saw the movie. You're the only one of the three of us that saw it.
Oh, New Mutants? I forgot that movie existed.
Yeah.
I was like, I never saw Dark Phoenix. What are you talking about?
I think Fox is trying to forget that movie existed. It got delayed so often.
It's not terrible. All right, enough of that bullshit. So, I like how Doctor Strange starts off. It starts off like kind of... So you see a random librarian putting some books away. You see a bunch of other people heading towards the library, in normal evil guy fashion, where they're all kind of lining up to the sides. And if I'm remembering, or this is just three guys that come in this room.
No, I think it's several.
There's several. There's a bunch, yeah, because they string them up on the magic ropes.
Yeah,
that's a little violent when they string him up, and then Hannibal comes over with the bucket. I'm going to call him Hannibal this whole episode. Mad Mikkelsen, who plays... What the fuck is that guy's name in this?
I kept calling him Master C, and then I just called him Big Bad. I could not remember his name. I can't remember anybody's name.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not Kikillis, because...
It's some pronunciation of that. It's like, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. We can go with Hannibal. That works.
I would say it's not like we heard it for an entire movie, but
I know. It's just this... the names really bounced off of me.
They're hard.
Yeah. They're not pleasant. So yeah, Caecilius, I think, is how you pronounce that.
I just called Hannibal.
I just call him Big Bad. So Big Bad comes in with his big swords and lops off his big head.
Yeah, he cuts it off really quick too, and he puts it in a bucket. And I don't know why they put it in a bucket.
Well, I mean, to catch the blood. I mean, listen, they're not animals. They're not going to leave entrails spewed all over the place. Go in a library,
kill the librarian, steal a page from a book. Why not? 2 pages. Oh, is it 2 pages?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know why he didn't just steal the damn book.
That's a very good question.
I mean, I was thinking maybe throughout I was watching this movie, like, okay, maybe he didn't steal the book because the book has some kind of spell, so the book can't leave or something, but nothing is ever said about why the book doesn't leave. He just didn't take the book. And then they make comments later about how the warnings come after the spell, so they didn't have the warnings. And I'm just like, why didn't you just take the damn book?
Well, I guess
it's a plot device.
It is a plot device. Pages
Benedict
are more.
Cumberbatch has to discover it later.
Right. Exactly. He needs to discover that very same book and then use magic powers to bring back the pages. Yes, exactly. Which, as you do, right? Well, I was also thinking maybe it's just hard to run through the streets of. Are they in New York at this point, or are they in?
I thought that was London.
I don't remember.
I'm actually watching it right now as we're talking because you have Tilda Swinton shows up, who's the ancient one, and then they run through a door and go into another city. I'm looking. I can't. I feel like it's London, but I can't tell. Even though I should be able to tell by the cars and what side of the road they're on, but that's not helping me.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter so much. They're in either London or New York, and like you said, they're running. And I guess it'd be kind of hard to run with an ancient tome under your arm. So they probably figured, let's stuff these pages in my pocket because
I mean, there's enough of them.
I didn't bring my backpack. So
books are heavy.
Books are heavy, especially ones that are bejeweled and ancient.
I just want one little quote that says, "Oh, these books can't leave." Something about a spell or something, but. Again, I'm nitpicking.
This is Kathmandu in Nepal.
Yes.
Apparently.
This is Deception.
According to Wikipedia.
Well, I know they're in Nepal, but that can't be Nepal when they run out the door. Can it?
No, they go through one of the portals, so they end up somewhere else.
God, it looks like London, but I can't tell.
If it was London, they should have just been in the London Sanctum then.
Yeah, or it's America. It could be America. I can't.
It's probably New York.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for signs of anything that looks different that would catch my eye, like to identify where they're at. Because there's one point in this movie when Doctor Strange is running somewhere, and my wife was like, "Well, what city are they in?" And I saw something I'm like, "Yeah, that's New York."
And by the way, I just said that the movie was called. I was referencing Deception. I was actually referencing Inception, the Christopher Nolan film. Deception is an erotic thriller that was directed in 2008. So not that. I was wrong. It's Inception. Not
Inception's all over this movie.
Oh God, this is almost. It's almost like he just lifted the effects and just threw it into this film.
Oh, like that fight scene when the Ancient One is fighting Hannibal and his minions, and they just start folding buildings, and it is awesome. I really like when they're running away. They run into a mirror of themselves. You just start seeing the cracking on the side of this, like what should be empty space in front of them when they realize they're in like this mirror dimension where you can alter it, but it doesn't affect the real world or something.
Which is actually a really clever device, honestly. I mean, and you don't know this is the mirror dimension. You just think it's some sort of magic barrier.
I guess they don't explain it, do they? Until later? They explain it an hour later. So if you're the viewer, I was not concerned, but I was like, so wait, is everybody else in this world experiencing the buildings rolling up like Swiss cake rolls? Like, is this a thing everyone's seeing it? And obviously not, but it kind of threw me a little bit out of the fiction. But yeah, it's cool. This is a very cool intro to kind of the powers and what Tilda Swinton can do. Yeah, I think it's pretty neat. It is cool.
It's visually
also, cool. In the comics, the Ancient One, I want to say, was like your stereotypical old Chinese guy, especially because this came out in the 70s, I want to say. And I'm glad they went away with that. They didn't go and they went a different route.
I feel like this is one of those movies that got whitewashing backlash, though, because of that. Because he is supposed to be an old Asian guy, and they got the Tilda Swinton, who I'm like, I've seen her in something else with short blonde hair. Turns out it was she played Gabriel in the Constantine movie.
She's done a lot of work, Tilda Swinton. She's an excellent actress. She's been all over everything. She's won some awards, I think.
1963 is the first appearance of Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Which I know they were doing LSD during when they were first writing that book. So, I'm pretty sure that's an actual fact. Like they've said, yeah, we were taking LSD and other things while we were making this book. Because I never read any of the original comics. Because 1960 comics are not fun to read, but from the sound of it, they're kind of crazy.
I imagine the filmmakers for this were, because those effects, you got to be on something to be able to come up with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very effective, and we'll talk. There's one part where it goes too much. It gets insane, and it affects the action that's happening. But at this point, it's cool. It provides a good setting. It provides some just environmental hazards that are insane and just visually arresting and fun. There's a very fun opening intro to not only Miss Swinton, but our big bad and kind of what the stuff they can do, them kind of trading world-bending blows. It's visually very impressive.
I don't really consider him the big bad. I mean, I know you're right because he is the villain.
I guess not. You're right.
But...
He's not. I mean, I guess you don't realize you're gonna see the big, very over-the-top evil bad
CG monster.
CG monster, yes. It's fine.
I mean, I like Dormammu because I know him from the comics. That's not the Dormammu I know, but I'll take it.
Dormammu doesn't look nearly as cool in this movie as he does in the comics, though.
Or Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know that's where you're really going. So, and then you first after Tilda Swinton ends up, they run away, and she's walking down the street in whatever city she's in. Then that's when the movie then cuts back to the first time, the first time you see Benedict Cumberbatch or Doctor Strange. This guy is really an asshole when you first meet him. Like, maybe not an asshole is the right word, but he's very cocky and very proud of himself. Am I the right word I think I'm using?
He's Hell's. It's more or less.
He no offense to anyone in the medical profession, but he's a surgeon. Surgeons are extremely arrogant, and they kind of have to be, all right? They have to be cool, calm, and collected, and a lot of times in my experience with surgeons anyway, luckily not personal experience, but just knowing that world a little bit, they're very aloof and they're very cold and they're very just maybe not as much of an asshole as Mr. Cumberbatch is, but yeah, that's kind of just the vibe. Again, that's what they have to do. They can't get emotionally attached because their job is to take tiny tweezers and repair heart valves. Like, incredible amounts of skill, and there's an incredible amount of arrogance and confidence that comes with that. Like, you can't doubt yourself if you're sitting there, repairing someone's eye socket or something. Like, you need to be confident what you can do, or else you're not going to do very well. So I read it as pretty not accurate because but he is a little over the top jerk.
They're playing the music, and he's like guessing what the song is from and stuff like that. Like that. Yeah. I was entertained though. It
was good. Again, it's just showing his character. This is routine, whatever he's doing. My wife, as this is probably getting released in March, so my daughter's gonna be, hi daughter, you're 6 months old.
It will be March.
She was born in September of 2020, and one thing we always commented on is when the surgeon who did my wife's C-section was this guy. Like, he came in, he was very happy with himself on his work. And he said, looks like it was really good. Everything went well. Thanks. Bye. And never asked how are you feeling? And just no empathy, and kept talking about, pretty major surgery as if it was, picking up deli meat from the supermarket. Like, no big deal. He even said, he's like, oh, I've done thousands of these. Don't worry about it. And we're like, hey, but I have to worry about it. This is my abdomen you're slicing into, sir, to retrieve my just born child. Could you pretend like I care and pretend like you care? Like, this is a somewhat of a big deal. But yeah, that's just how it is. It's just, so for him, I totally buy into him just having his assistant quiz him on Chuck Mangione and his flugelhorn. Like, I totally buy that for sure. And it's a good introduction. He's got a surgeon's mentality.
Okay, you see, thanks to your real life experience, you're able to add more credibility to this episode.
I'm not here just for bad jokes, y'all. I'm not here to do bad single name jokes, so I'm trying.
And I know I'm not the only one. I know Mike is agreeing with me in this. So then they introduced Rachel McAdams, and I just love Rachel McAdams. I think she's just beautiful.
Yeah. She's great.
Yeah, she's a gem. She's a gem in this movie for sure.
She is. I mean, she's a gem in a lot of movies she's in. Like, I know she's in the Sherlock Holmes movies, I want to say.
Yep.
Or at least the first one.
Irene Adler.
Yeah, Irene Adler. Yeah, exactly.
I really like her in movies, and I like her in this one, too, a lot.
Yep, she's done a lot of good work. Yep.
And I feel like she does a very good job of pulling his character kind of I'm trying to think of the right words here. Maybe I feel like the character is more like the stuff that happens between them feels more earned than it has in other MC movies that we might have watched on the show. Like kissing your love's niece, a little more like this made more sense.
Jesus Christ, don't get me started.
Don't get Bill started, Jay.
Don't get me started. Listen to that episode.
I like how she, they have this guy with a bullet in his head, and again, he's being a cocky bastard. He's like, well, of course he's dying. You left a bullet in him. Like, okay, that I did laugh a little bit at that, even though it's not.
Oh yeah.
And so he's doing the surgery on him to save this guy because I guess he could tell that the bullet is hardened, so they must have did blah, 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 and it's poisoning him.
Man, this movie is 60% medical jargon. Like, whenever they start that stuff, I just kind of tuned out. Like, what? Okay.
I don't understand any of it. I don't know much about the medical profession. I know a little because I used to work with people who work in the medical field, and every so often we'd have conversations and he'd talk about stuff. Like he talked about when he had his heart surgery, since he worked in the field, he picked the surgeon he wanted. He picked the people he wanted because he knew who the best people were for stuff. That's about all I got.
Wow.
It was interesting.
No, it's good. And this is really showing him, it's showing us that he is miles ahead of everybody in that hospital, right? He is extremely talented and gifted. I was still tense when he was pulling out that bullet. Like, even though I know, just from a movie standpoint, he's going to save the day. Like, he's going to. This is him saving the day. I thought it was interesting that this is not really him trying to save this person. This is him trying to prove he can do it.
You are right.
You know, and I think those are kind of two sides of him that are at war a little bit. The side where he actually cares about the patient he's working on has been stuffed so far down in favor of this arrogant facade that he needs to put on to do his job well. Pursuit of knowledge, pursuit of medical science. So but this is very tense. Like, I'm on my edge. Like,
even when he. Sorry, I'm just watching the movie as we're talking. I just caught a scene I didn't catch before. After he saves the patient, they go and talk to the family. When she hugs him, it's a very half-ass hug, like he could give a shit. I didn't catch that before. Oh yeah, he can't deal with the hug that he gets. He kind of sidearms her, and just gets half hug from her. It's interesting. Like, he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. This is all about the science and proving he can do these amazing things. It's interesting. It's a good character. And it's a very fast setup because this movie has to do a lot of work very quickly. And I like this. We didn't do generalities, but I do like the fact that this movie is a side story. I really do like the Marvel side stories. You know, not everything has to be 85 superheroes fighting in an airport tarmac, right? This is a neat little side story that's self-contained, you know, with an open end, because obviously we know we're going to have this character again. But this movie has to do a lot of work. It's got to set up this entire mythos of wizards and sorcerers and magic. So anything they can do to establish Doctor Strange as a character fast, do it. And this is very effective. It's cementing a lot of things about this character in the space of 5 minutes. Yeah, because even in like I said, I'm watching it. In the first 10 minutes, you have this scene where after the surgery, he's walking with her, and so they kind of go about their history, where that they dated before, how she won't date coworkers, and there's one very important thing I want to mention: how he tells her to come with this dinner with their speaking engagement with him, and he's like, "You love speaking engagement," and she's just like, "They were never about us; they were just about you." And I like that. I really like the way that, because it also kind of shows more about the character, but how he is really full of himself, which you already saw, but you see even more about it. I like that.
Agreed. It's just effective character building for both of them. You know, she's an earnest, wants to save people, kind of almost opposites, right? The opposite, two sides of the medical profession, right? The almost academic surgeon. I want to find the new technique, the new thing that's going to solve this problem.
That's a real thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And she wants to just save the day. Like, she just wants to save everyday people. And I don't know if it's in this scene or another where she says something along the lines of, or he says something along the lines of, I can't be in your butcher shop.
Yeah, it's that same scene.
Sucks. Like, whoa, that's brutal. And she's like, yeah, that's hard. Saving people, real people every day. That's low work.
I know when this movie came out, it was compared heavily to Iron Man because it's an intro story, and he's also a dick. I mean, I don't see it that way. Like, when I went into this movie on this watch for the show, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for it. And yes, there's some, but at the same time, I would say no, because in Iron Man's case, he's trying to save his life. In this guy's case, he's just trying to make money again. Or
just further the field. I don't quite see it the same. I think Iron Man or Tony Stark is a war profiteer, right? He's an arrogant warmonger, basically.
Yeah.
Not the warmonger, but this warmonger. I don't know if I totally buy that. There's some parallels, I'm sure. You know, the arrogance of the character. Yeah,
I felt like it was just a thing at the time where we had to compare it to something else just because it's MCU. God, this movie came out 6 years ago, and I couldn't really believe that when I was looking this up before the episode. I'm like, this is 6 years ago? What the?
4 years ago.
4? Oh, my God. Well, 2020 has been never ending. Okay, 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years makes a lot more sense, because I watched it with my wife, and we've only been together 5 years, so it makes a lot more seness.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I got 6 years from just now. But yeah, it doesn't feel like 4 years ago either. That's what I want to say.
Oh, it feels ancient.
It just...
This movie is one of the ancients.
Oh no, but I do have a question mainly for Bill, because this is New York, and I saw his apartment. All I could think of is gotta be really fucking expensive.
Beyond the pale. I mean, he doesn't rent that; he owns that. He leases that. That's not a rental property that's gonna change hands every year.
And I saw that, and I just thought of you right away. I'm like, yep.
Oh, it's insane. It's
successful doctor. He's probably got money to burn.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right for himself. It's funny. I think are we at the part where he's suiting up for his?
Yeah,
he's suiting up for his engagement, and he pulls out his watch drawer that has probably 20 high-end watches, each worth maybe $2,000 a pop or $3,000. I don't know watches.
They're spinning pedestals.
Yes, and I always think it's like a weird thing when people own a lot of watches. Like, no one's really looking at your watch. Like, that's a thing for you to enjoy, which maybe that's another signaling of how his arrogance, because a watch is only a thing you look at and go, isn't that nice? So no one's looking at your watch going, ooh.
So, people do that. People will collect watches.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. No offense if you collect watches. Do what you want with what you got. But I never understood it. It's, I get it. Shoes are another thing. People look at shoes, but I don't know. Watches are weird.
I don't know why people collect shoes either. Like video games and comics. So I got nothing. Like
everyone's got their thing.
I have about 15 pairs of shoes, so that's a decent little collection.
Yeah, he's all tucked up in this. He's got his fancy watch and his fancy car, and I'm like, why isn't Benedict Cumberbatch in line to play the next Bond? And I say this to my wife. She very emphatically goes, yeah! Like, to the point where it startled me. She's like, I'd never thought of that before.
It's a good point. He'd be a very good Bond. We didn't really talk about Benedict Cumberbatch so much yet. I think I mentioned this in previous episodes, but I am a pretty big Cumberbitch. I am a big fan of that man with those high English cheekbones, as they say. And he's awesome in this. I wouldn't say awesome. He's very good. There's cracks in it. I don't know why I said awesome, because he's not awesome. He's very good in this.
Actor, and he's just fun to watch.
He's an excellent actor, and the writers kind of disservice him a little bit at points, but he's an excellent actor, and after the genius of Sherlock, the man can almost do no wrong. So
I gotta say something really stupid that I just realized as we were talking. I just realized Regina George in Mean Girls is Rachel McAdams.
Yeah,
I never realized that, so all of a sudden just clicked like, oh
yeah, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just had that realization as I'm sitting here looking at her filmography, and I had to say it on recording.
Okay, neat.
So
she's also in Spotlight, which is an excellent movie if you like watching people in a fluorescent lit room talk about news stories. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good movie, though.
It's fantastic.
I really enjoyed it when I watched it randomly on Netflix at some point in my life.
Anyway, so then we get him streaming down. I don't know where he ends up, because again, I know the area.
God, does he drive reckless, though?
Well, yes, but it's funny. He goes across, I think that's the George Washington, and then instead of ending up in like Fort Lee or like in a really, let's say, crowded part of New Jersey, he ends up in, I don't know, Montana on this like windy road. And I'm looking at him like, where's that windy road? I don't know. Maybe.
Because you would need mountains for a windy road like that, right?
Yeah, and what kind of speaking engagement requires you to go on a windy mountain road? Like, I don't...
Driving like a Lamborghini or something?
I don't know what that machine is, but I
don't know my cars, unfortunately.
It's angular and
I was, like, during this whole part, I'm just watching him, like, as he's driving. Because, I mean, again, I already seen this movie, so I know what's happening. I know where it's coming. But, like, the way he drives, like, you're in a little area on a curved road with people, one lane going each way, and he's just sitting there going in between people, and I was like, no. Nope. I'm mostly a careful driver. Like I do have issues sometimes where I use GPS all the time on my phone, so I have to hold my phone to see the GPS because I'm blind. I can't do it otherwise. If the GPS tells me turn left, it's never going to happen. I've tried. I have to see it. And like when that scene when he looks at his phone just a little bit too long, like he looks at his phone, looks up, looks back at his phone, doesn't leave his phone. I'm like, yep, you're done. And that hit me a little bit because I'm always like I'm one of those people like I look at my GPS, but I always do my best to be very, very careful, never to look longer than than what you would look at your mirror. It's got to be a brief doop and back, never more than that.
Well, a couple things here, Mike. A, you do realize they make little things for cars where it'll hold your phone for you. Like you don't need to sit there with it in your hand.
I tried. It never seems to work for me, but I bought a couple of years. There's
a science we have called hands free.
I never hold my phone in the car.
It's all right. I've done it too. It's fine. Yeah, I always, and this is another extension of his character. He's a surgeon. He can listen, he can repair someone's colon. While talking about obscure jazz musicians, he can absolutely thread the needle on a highway. He's arrogant. That's what it is, and it's also really cementing him as a jerk. One thing we papered over is as he's driving, he's essentially just talking about his assistant, I guess, is saying, "Hey, I have this patient." He's like, "No." Boring. And then he talks about somebody with lightning, infused with lightning. Who is that? Thor? Like, who's he talking about in that last?
I don't know. I didn't think that far.
Can't be Thor, because
interesting.
I didn't catch that, and I did not catch that either time watching this.
Because he talked about someone who's infused with lightning, and his answer is, "Ooh, interesting." All right. Michael, what do you think about the moment when he clips the driver and careens off of the?
And we get the slow motion crash.
Yeah.
Like when that dashboard curves in over his hands, like I got sympathy pain just watching that. It's like, no, don't do that. Stop it.
Stop movie. You've gone too far. Oh, that's the whole
God, and it gets worse.
It doesn't stop. He does not stop spinning and careening, and that beautiful vehicle is just in a shambles. And man, it's rough. It's visceral, and I remember the first time I saw it, it punched me hard, like boom.
I think they're referencing Living Lightning. I'm guessing because I searched what you just said in Google, and it's somebody from the West Coast Avengers. I don't know if that's who they were actually referencing, but that's what came up.
I'll accept it as truth.
Yeah, could be Electro. That's a thing.
Okay,
I don't know what that is.
He's a Spider-Man villain who's never appeared in a movie, unfortunately.
No, certainly not by the same actor. About to do it again.
All right.
After that car accident is so brutal, though. Like, oh man, that's like Mike was saying. It just,
It's worse when he wakes up and he's got all those pins in his hands. It's like, I had a
scary,
really hard time looking at that.
Yep.
I can't imagine waking up like that and just seeing your hands like that. Like,
it's making me shudder just thinking about it.
I'm watching it right now as we're talking. It's brutal looking.
And his acting in this is fantastic. The way the realization, the anger, the panic in his face, that he realizes, because he sees that, and his medical brain knows exactly what that means. And it's just, he understands that he's probably never going to practice medicine again. It's a very powerful scene.
That I took is, even though he can't practice medicine, with that brain that he has and that experience, he could easily get a job on a board or something like that. I feel like easily.
He is born a surgeon. That is what he does. That's it. He's trained his entire life to be that person. And
I know, just that's from, I guess, my brain went, like, you can still work. Like, you can still do... But I'm also a very adaptable type of person. Like, if you put me in a situation, I just will adapt, because it's just what I do, apparently, I found out.
Well, that's Rachel McAdams plays Christine, so I'll try to refer to her as her actual...
Not Hottie, it's like I did in all my notes. I don't know, I really like Rachel McAdams. I just think, I don't know.
She's a very attractive woman. I'll give you that, but
there's certain women there's certain women in Hollywood that just really, like, I'm just like, God, they are beautiful. Kate Beckinsale is another one that I just
easily.
There's only a couple, but there's a certain one, Rachel McAdams, one of those that I'm just like, I'll watch movies she's in just because.
So should we call it now? We're doing Underworld for this Booktober.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. I don't want to.
Underworld, yeah. So between Scarlett Johansson and Rachel McAdams, you're a good egg, Mike. I tell you, you are unabashed.
Hey, I'm almost tempted to watch that stupid high school movie with Scarlett Johansson I didn't even know existed. That Mike was like, well, have you ever seen this? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh. The
Perfect Score. It's not bad. Captain America's in it too.
You can watch the animated film Sing. She plays a punk rock porcupine.
A few times. Good movie.
Oh, it's actually all right. It's okay. It's fine.
My wife likes it. That's all I've seen it.
I listen to this soundtrack every day while taking my kids to school. Every day. Sing songs. Okay. I want the gorilla. All right, at least it's the good one.
So after he gets injured, he's trying some experimental procedures. You see him in a room, and he's like, it'll be expensive. Like, I don't care. I mean, I don't know. It's like he had a lot of money, so I guess he didn't really see it as him, losing anything. Plus, he's trying to get back. Like you said, he's born to be a surgeon. That's all he wants back is to be a surgeon. And I think there's one thing that's very well, one that, moves the plot forward, but also kind of helps grow the character too, is when he's in the rehab with the guy, and he doesn't call the guy by whatever his name, he calls him bachelor degree guy or something.
Oh, God, what an asshole. Man, I get it. You're struggling, but boof, he throws some barbs out here in this beginning. That's wow. Like, out.
But it leads to the rest of the plot movie, because he calls him because he insults him, and he's kind of, a dick to him, and they're talking about this guy that he met that had spine injury but then was able to walk later on, and he's like, I'll have to dig in the record, but to prove you wrong, it'll be worth it. Like I again, it moves him. It also shows like this guy's a fucking asshole.
I like the time lapse here too, because he wakes up with the beard, and then Rachel McAdams helps him shave it, and then he's got it again to show how much time has passed. And in that time, he apparently spent all of his money on trying to fix this thing.
His house, I was going to say apartment, but that's not an apartment. His, whatever the hell this is, his condo has a lot less furniture in it and is way empty by the time you see him the next time with Christine.
And I think there's a moment, because in the beginning, when you're first introduced to his palace that he resides in, like all his awards are on the shelf. I could have sworn there's less the next time they pan across that. Like almost he's selling the awards, like the actual statuettes or hawking them or pawning them. I'd love to look at it again side by side to see if that's indeed what my brain registered. But this is powerful. Even Rachel McAdams, to a lot through this, she tells him, like you said, Mike, you can do something else with your mind. You can make a difference in a lot of different ways. But he doesn't care. He's like, I want to be a surgeon, and I'm going to go through every experimental thing to make that happen.
I don't know. I mean, I guess because, like I said, I adapt, but also, like, my brain was just thinking, like, you still have the ability to make money and survive. But then again, I have kind of like there's that like survival instinct, I think, that I don't know if people have, because I met some people that are dumb. But and that's all I can think of. That's all that came to my mind was dumb. But it's kind of see it where like he's refusing to see what he should do, and he's spending all his effort and time, and especially like Mike said with the time lapse, on trying to do something that's not possible because, like as Bill said, he's born to be a surgeon. All he wants to do. Where I'm just like, fucker, you do something else. Like, you're smart. Do this. You make. But then my survival instinct is kicking in. Not I'm being stubborn and stupid. That's how I took it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
I do love this part with Rachel McAdams. Okay, so after you had time lapse, he's running out of money. He talks about he needs a small loan of $200,000. I'm just like, yeah, small loan. Okay, that's mostly what my house cost me. But I'm just like, but I guess when in that world, if you were making that kind of money, like he was making, that probably is a small loan, because he probably was. I mean, I don't know what surgeons make, but I'm sure it's really good money.
I mean, I don't know. That seems kind of outsized, but I mean, yeah, obviously, again, it's showing he's probably a multimillionaire, a celebrated surgeon who's done amazing work. I don't know what the pay scale is. I don't know what the going rate for a world-class surgeon.
Okay, in Minnesota, which is not the state he's in, an annual salary of an average general surgeon is $323,000.
Okay, well, there you go.
To me, New York has got to be New York is $350,000. But this guy would be a award-winning type, thing. So, 400-some-thousand, it looks like.
It's still a nice chunk of change. He's been doing his entire life and all that. I mean, yeah, I could see that, right? Obviously, he's also very, very flippant. Christine tells him, like, look, you spend money the second you get it, right? Like, it's not surprising that you can't swing these crazy. And this is the point where she says, look, maybe you should just give up. Like, maybe this can't be fixed, and we need to think about the next phase of your life. And this is when he flips.
Oh, man.
And is as brutal as humanly possible. Michael, man, oof.
Yeah, it's a hard scene to watch, like, because she comes in and trying to be all sympathetic, and you expect him to kind of go for it. And I think he even comments, like, is this where I'm supposed to say sorry or something like that? And he just berates her and sends her out the door.
Am I one of your charity cases?
Yeah, something like that.
It's so good. And it's just so powerful. Like, it really just shows, like, he doesn't even give a shit. He's like, we were barely lovers. And but at the same time, later on, the one watch he keeps is the watch from her. So it's just like, he's just angry. So he lashes out at the one person that still cares, because he hates himself. Is how I kind of took it too.
Yeah. Stuffing down those feelings.
It's really powerful though.
And she leaves. She goes, and her reaction, again, a great piece of acting on her part, very minimal, but really good. She's clearly hurt, but she goes, okay, I give up. Fine. Do it yourself then. And she leaves.
You hear the ka-chunk of her slamming down his key. She's done.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And one thing I like that, because when the keys drop, like, that's the end. Like, that's any type of relationship that you have. I'm sure people have had that moment where you just drop, like, you're just done. The person gives you your keys back, like, we're done. Like, we're not coming back. I speak from experience too with something.
Oh yeah,
but,
I had that moment. I had a similar moment. A very, very quick story. I used to work as a traveling trainer, and the company I worked for would buy out these roofing and siding companies all over the country. And then I would go to that city/state and live there for 4 to 5 weeks to teach them how to do their jobs again because we just acquired them. And there was one branch I was at. It was in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and it was this tiny little branch with 3 people in it. It was a branch manager, a guy at the counter, and the guy who ran the trucks, who dispatched the trucks. And the branch manager did everything. They had no computer system. They had nothing. This guy knew all the prices, the customers. Then he goes to me, Bill, I got to tell you, you're a nice guy and all, but I don't feel like doing this anymore. I quit. What? And he's like, I quit. I'm sorry. And he throws his coffee cup in the garbage. Like, he has his coffee cup and he throws it. And when he leaves, the counter guy goes, Bill, he's serious. He threw away his coffee cup. That means he's serious. And the guy had been there 20 years. He got a big payout because he was a part owner. And he just said, screw it, I don't want to deal with it. So that was my experience of the proverbial keys on the counter, was the coffee cup in the garbage.
Mine was when I broke up with my very toxic relationship I had with this girl, and she wouldn't give my keys back. Like, I was trying to get my keys back for like over 2 months. She would not mail them, would not see me, kept saying, oh, the mail rejected it. Oh, the mailman wouldn't take it. Oh, they said I can't. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So finally, after 2 months, I finally was able to meet her at a Perkins. And I remember when we had barely talked, our relationship was done. Well, it doesn't help that, she was married too, but that's a whole nother story. And very bad relationship. But so finally, I remember I got my keys back. I drank my orange juice, paid for my orange juice, didn't pay for her meal, and I just left. And then we didn't speak again.
Does she realize that you work in shipping? Like, exactly?
At the time, I did.
Okay. Because I'm like, you would have known exactly how much that thing would have cost to overnight it to you. Like,
oh yeah, no.
If you got, listen, lady, if you got like $5 in your pocket, like, you could get that to me in 3 days. Like,
that was FedEx. But I worked at Samsung at the time. But yeah, we just were not. Well, a lot was she didn't want to end it. Even though she was married, whatever the hell this was, she didn't want to let it go. And she knew once the keys were done, it was over. Because that was the last thing she had that was keeping us even really being in contact at that point. And so that's kind of that's why that scene hits me a little more, too. Because I understand the meaning of why she does that. Yeah.
Hey, Michael, do you have any heartbreaking tales of disastrous relationships you wish to share?
Sure don't.
All right, great.
That's a good thing.
I got a coffee cup. Mike's got a Mrs. Edison keys, and Michael's like, things have been good. I don't know.
But I drank my orange juice. I'll never forget that. Because I normally would always pay for her meals, and I remember I drank my orange juice. I didn't pay for her meal on purpose, and I just left. I always remember that.
Anyway,
enjoy your goddamn pancakes.
So this is after Rachel McAdams leaves Hottie. That's when he finds a letter, like where the guy from earlier, the bachelor degree guy, had sent him the files of this guy that was walking all of a sudden that shouldn't have been able to walk. And all I could think of myself was, how illegal is that, what he just did?
Yeah, he's not getting that file back. He's not. Dude, that was a poor idea. But it was kind of like a hey, told you so. It's a device. Moving on.
I know, but I just think about that. Like, yeah, that's a lot of laws there you broke, sir.
Yeah, that's someone's personal medical file that you just gave out.
And they're not even copies either. Like, I mean, I see those look like, the originals or type things. I mean, he didn't go to a Kinko's and make copies. I can tell you that. I thought that was kind of funny too.
Yeah. And so then it tracks the guy down, and at the basketball court and confronts him.
My wife, she's like, "Hey, that's the guy from Catwoman." I'm like, "Why do you know that?"
Wow, I've never seen Catwoman, so I wouldn't have made that association.
Why did she watch Catwoman?
I don't know.
Why would anybody watch Catwoman? I mean, I love DC movies in some reason. I love comic book movies. I've never seen Catwoman.
Well, we do have a podcast series that's films about superheroes, so maybe that's in our future.
Nah, there's a lot of other ones.
We'll take a little tour of late 90s, early 2000s superhero movies.
I mean, there's
Batman
Daredevil.
Robin, here we come.
That movie's terrible, too. Oh, but yeah, okay, that'd be the only way I would ever watch Catwoman would be for this show. But so when he does find that guy from Catwoman and he's talking to him and he goes on about how, he got his body healed and he went to, and that's when he tells him where to go in Nepal. He says, I don't know if he says Nepal or he says the name of the place. Maybe he says Nepal, too.
It's just the name of the place, Katamash. I think it's how it's pronounced.
I guess he does have Google.
Yeah, I mean, you can find that out very quick.
It's interesting. I like this though. I like how he goes there. Like, this guy tells him, and then the guy goes right back playing basketball.
Jonathan Pangborn is this character's name. Like, that's not a real name, right?
No, that can't be.
All I think about when he went to, Kathmandu, Nepal. Well, when I think of Nepal, I think of one movie in particular, but that took place in the 1930s. Or no, yeah, it's late 1930s.
I got nothing.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Takes place in
Oh,
Nepal.
okay.
The first part when he goes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's what came to my head, and I was going to make a joke about the drinking, and my wife's like, "That is stupid." So I tell the story.
Yeah, but yeah.
Obviously would have landed super well with your audience here.
Yes, it would. Somebody would have got it out there. Somebody would have laughed. Because I mean, I don't know. Just me. Whenever because maybe I watch Indiana Jones way too many times. Anytime I hear Nepal, first thing that pops in my mind is drinking at a bar and trying to get a medallion. Just does. So, and then it jumps to Benedict Cumberbatch. He's in Nepal. He's walking around. He's asking people about this place, Kamar, to whatever the hell it's called. And you see this. I think it's also interesting because I know at some point Benedict Cumberbatch did actually travel in Tibet and stuff and did something like that. He went on a pilgrimage at one point in his life.
Oh, as a human being, I could see that. Sure.
Yeah. I remember if it's like way earlier in his career. I don't think it was for this movie. I think it was long before this movie. I think it was just something he did because he could.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
I would love to go to Tibet, but that's not a good idea. So that's neither here nor there. But I just thought that was interesting. That's one reason why he got this part too, and was so interested in it because he had kind of a personal experience too to add to it. And then this is also when you see him in the alley when he's trying to find the place. He gets confronted by a bunch of thugs, and they want his watch, and he's like, "That's all I have left." And I think that's interesting too when you kind of find out that is the watch that Rachel had given him, or Christine. She gave him the watch. And that's the only thing he kept. He sold everything else, got rid of everything, but he kept the watch.
To show that somewhere deep down he actually does care.
And this is also when Baron Mondo shows up, which you don't know it's Baron Mondo, but this guy shows up and just beats shit out of the thugs. Did I say his name wrong?
Mordo.
Yeah, Mordo.
Do you either guys know who Baron Mordo is from the comics?
I only know it because of the Spider-Man cartoon. Whenever Dormammu was a thing, Baron Mordo is there too. So I was like, hey, I know that name. This guy's going to be an asshole at some point.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I had no idea. Obviously, I know nothing about comic books, so I know they exist. That's about the end of it. So I had no idea. I just thought he was, a good bro. So cool. But then, of course, at the very, very end, we learned that he breaks bad, which is actually very good. So, yeah, Mordo played by actor's name I'll never pronounce properly.
Oh no!
I was about to try, and then I decided against.
I'm gonna try it. Chiwetel Ejiofor. Maybe
right.
he's well known from 12 Years a Slave was his
good actor.
Big breakout, excellent actor. Yes.
And also I thought another thing that was kind of cool that I want to bring up is Baron Mordo in the comics is a white guy, so I was glad to see that they went a different direction with it and didn't whitewash it or didn't leave it the way because it doesn't need to be. It works whoever you put in there. I like that because you have enough white people in this movie, so
sure do. So
I don't know, it's a small thing, but I do like it when they do this with characters, especially when it works. Because if I remember correctly, Mordo is just some a sorcerer, so it makes sense that you're going to have people of all different races and ethnics that come from different countries, not just we're all from America.
Yeah,
because it's not a 1960s comic anymore.
It is good. It is good. Yeah.
And I like when he comes into they bring him into the sanctuary. He's walking around, and, to meet the Ancient One. He sees this old Chinese guy, which I thought was kind of funny. He starts talking
very good.
To the Ancient One, and it's not.
She's like, well, you're welcome.
Playing off the stereotypes of seeing one too many kung fu movies. Is clearly an Asian man with a giant beard, it's sitting cross-legged reading something. Clearly, you're the ancient. Oh, okay. It's Bald Tilda Swinton.
I like how they use Tilda Swinton. I also I want to say part of because she comes off very non-binary in this movie too, because you can't really tell that she you can tell she's female. Of course, we know who she is also, but that idea that she's neither female nor male, they were kind of going for. I felt, which I thought works good in this movie too.
Yeah,
I want to say that's why they did it for. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was something that was mentioned about it when they casted her and they were going for someone that would look non-binary because of the Ancient One.
Interesting. I could. That's cool if that's the case. Yeah, neat.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
I feel like I read that somewhere.
Trust everything you read. Everything you read, sir.
I feel like I read it was something like a publication back before this movie came out, from actual, not Fox News.
IT. Oh God. IT. Wow. We're recording this in the midst of the election. That's never going to end. So
we're in day 5 of the election.
Yeah, day 5. Day 5 of election day is what.
Yeah, day 5. Yeah, election month. That's cool though. If that's the case, then that's really a very interesting choice and good for them. That's great.
Yeah, if that's the reasoning, that's what I assume it is from what I remember reading or I think I read. It makes me like it a lot more. Because one, she's a great actress, but two, like she really works in this part. Like when she's talking to him and he's talking about medical, and it's like, oh, you found a way to, fuse cells and do this. And he's like, oh, so that's why you're working out here in the middle of nowhere, so the people can't judge you and they can't. And she's like, nah, not really. Like I like all that.
Yeah, we get more medical jargon here.
It's fine.
Which is fine. Again, I actually don't mind the medical jargon, even if it hasn't much context. And he's talking about cell regeneration, and he's all excited. He's like, there's science here. That's hidden science, and I can help because my brain is great. And she's like, no. He was healed through belief. To which he goes onto a tear and says, that's nonsense. We are just, which is actually a great line. That's called back later on. When they say we are just matter that's here, an insignificant matter that's just here for a moment, and blah, 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 blah.
She pulls out the book about acupuncture and the chakras and everything like that, and that's when he gets really upset because then he thinks she's full of shit.
He has a really good line. I don't know if you were going to say this, Michael. Go ahead.
So what do you think about this map? He's like, oh yeah, I saw that in a gift shop.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yep.
Kind of like when she throws that back in his face at the end of this scene too.
Yep. So then she punches him into an out of body experience.
Yes, that is cool. I like how they get kind of, because he doesn't believe her. He thinks she's all full of shit. And then when she pushes him out of his, and he sees the astro, because he just tells her no such thing as spirit. Like you were saying, made of matter and nothing more. And then that's when she does it.
And he has that great comment. He goes, "What's in this tea?" That's really good.
I like that. I mean, that makes sense. If someone from the medical profession, that's what would go, that's what they would think. They would think, well, you must have drugged me because this is impossible.
Right. No, it's fine. Exactly. Who would? I would. No one would be like, oh, okay. This is an out-of-body experience. I've seen Doctor Strange. I'm pretty sure this is an out-of-body experience. No, everyone would be just confused and brain broken. And then she proceeds to brain blast him into a tripped out stratosphere.
And then she puts something in all of our tea.
Yes.
I could have done without this part. I like the astral dimension part. I'm not so crazy about the we just took LSD part. But
it is. Yeah, go ahead.
While he's floating around between realms, she's kind of giving him the whole rundown of, hey, there's multiple dimensions out there, not just ours. I swear one of these is the quantum realm from Ant-Man.
Oh, maybe. I didn't catch that. Huh.
I don't know. They all look kind of similar.
Well, that's... well, yeah, they're all just bright Technicolor, just neon-y...
Giant neon dust motes.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Definitely show Dormammu in one of them, if I remember correctly, or they show his work.
You do see Dormammu for like a brief.
Yes, you do.
Second.
And you also my favorite ones. If you want to take a guess, my favorite little.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the hands on hands.
Yup, baby hands on fingers on hands. That is very, very scary.
It's weird.
And now that I realize he's a horror director, that makes a lot of sense. And there's a few things in this film.
Sure.
There's a few things in this film that make a lot of sense because it's very, very horror framed, and that is one of them. Oof, I love that. Good.
You have all these bodies moving across the. Yeah, it's very, very horror. Oh, and Mike, you're right. It is. I'm pretty sure it is the quantum realm in one of those little scenes.
Well, they knew they were going to come back to it because apparently they set up Janet somewhere in the quantum realm at the end of Ant-Man, so they knew they were going to come back to it at some point.
Yeah, no, that was all planned. Like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
I mean, all the MCU was already kind of written ahead of time.
It was all planned out. And again, as I always like to say, some studio head from Marvel was like looking over his shoulder when writing it. It's like, quantum realm, it's gotta be there. Gotta put it. I don't know if it really meets thematically. Put it in.
I prefer series movies. I'm not exactly, a real thrill when you plan out a great first movie of a trilogy. The second movie is written by somebody else that has nothing to do, and they go to a casino, and then the third movie goes back to the first movie and forgets the second movie even happened. I don't really like trilogies like that.
Oh, not really, huh? Well, that's a shame because there's a trilogy. Yeah, I know. I get the reference. One day we should explore that well-worn road of Star Wars. Want to. That really doesn't need to be explored anymore. We can just all admit it's fine.
We've already covered Holiday Special on this podcast. You never have to see that movie in your life. If you never.
Oh, and Michael, this is a side story. From what I can gather from some of the episodes I've listened to, you don't really know much about Star Wars, do you?
No, I really don't. I've seen the first 7, and that's pretty much it.
Excellent. I think that would actually be really fun. Not the show prep or anything during our show, but yeah, I like that. Star Wars, I don't think I'm a fan.
We could lay out Mike's love for Phantom Menace, just all out on the table.
That's going to happen one day. But so
anyway,
after,
sorry, that's the side story.
After this whole scene, I like how then he finally realizes she's not full of shit. He's like, teach me. And then he runs up to the door, bangs on the door, and again, he hurts his hand because earlier he punches a guy and hurts his hand. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
Reminding us, because we don't see his hands, reminding us he's still injured and they're still weak. That's very good. Kicks him out. No. Kicks him out of the door in a very comic booky style. And then he proceeds to sit by the door and pound on it for the next 12 hours.
It's like my wife says, he wants to learn for the wrong reasons. He wants to learn to help himself.
Right. All he wants to do is kill himself. Correct.
And I like how the reason she doesn't want to teach him at first because he reminds her of Hannibal. Or Mad Mickelson, I'm not going to call him whatever the hell his name is. And I like that because in the early part of this movie, you see how he turned, so she's worried about who she's going to train. And even here, they talk about with Baron Mordo, where he's talking about his own demons. Like, that she helped him learn to defeat his demons. She's like, we only learn to live above them.
Very good. She's full of good wisdom and good mysticism and the occasional fortune cookie comment. But it's very interesting. Yeah, we're learning it. We don't get rid of our demons. We just kind of quell them, right? Or silence the voices. So it's good.
I like that Mordo is the one that convinces her to take him back in, though.
Yes, interesting.
Because Mordo is going to become his villain at some point in this, and so that is cool. And I also like he has nowhere else to go because he spent his all his money left just to get here, so he's done. And there's a little scene when Mordo pulls him in, they're taking him to his room, and he hands him a little business card, and it says like something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "It's the Wi-Fi password. We're not."
Yes. It's like, is this my mantra? No, it's a Wi-Fi password.
We're not savages. It's very funny. What are better bits in this movie? There's a couple of really good ones, and that's one of them. It's very funny.
But I also was wondering, like, does he have a phone? Does he have anything to use at this point?
It's just a joke.
I know. I like the joke. I was just thinking about that myself. Like, does he have I mean, he has a computer later on because he's Googling, he's emailing her, so they have access.
Yeah,
he had a phone earlier in the movie, but I don't think it was a smartphone.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, in Mike's world, this was 2014, but smartphones were around then.
Yeah, in 2016, it should have been everywhere.
Yeah, especially if you're making fucking 400,000 or more, like 500,000 a year. Yeah, you'd have a smartphone just fine. So I also like the train.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you're good. I think everything, like when they have like the conversation between him and Tilda, and she's talking about how to do this, and I like all that. I like all the mumble jumble of this movie a lot.
Mumbo jumbo. It's good. It's good exposition, right? She's expositing what the deal is. Harnessing energy, and we cast spells. And
I didn't catch how many times they say multiverse in this movie. The first time, the other times I watched.
Yes,
because the next movie is going to be called The Multiverse of Madness, and I mean, I know enough about Marvel comics. I know what the multiverse is, but I just don't think about it. But I think it's just so cool how they're setting so many things up in this movie that I didn't catch when I first saw this.
Yeah, and it's also really neat to see him failing at something and just not being as good as everyone else. Because again, up to this point, you've seen him just be extremely successful and capable, especially with his hands. And he cannot make that little circle happen like his classmates can. Really cool. It's a good stripping down moment of his skills. Kind of stripping him down so he can then be built back up as the Doctor Strange. So,
and she really hits him when she says, because he's like, "How do I get from here to there?" And he's like, she's like, "How did you put back together a spy?" And he's like, "Years of study and practice." She's like, "Well, there you go." Yeah. I like how she gives him something he understands. He knows how to study. He knows how to practice. Like that gets him going.
Is this before Everest?
Yes, this is. Okay. He has this. Then you have the joke where he goes to meet Wong.
Wong is great in this movie.
Yeah,
he is great. He's much needed as not just comic relief, but also a really like a tent pole, like a good solid rock for Strange to play off of, and learn from, an example of the prototypical mystical soldier almost. He's great, really fun.
This is where Bill's intro joke came from, where it's like Wong, just Wong, like Cher or Beyonce.
Oh no.
You got a fiance. She's a huge star.
And this is also when he asks him if he can read Sanskrit, and he's like, well, I'm Google Translate. I can use Google Translate.
Fluent in Google Translate.
I do like that. And I did have a question, though, that I wanted to ask you guys. So he sees the Ancient One's private collection, which has the book that was stolen in this early part of the movie. He just takes it off the thing. Like, wouldn't there be some kind of spell or something stopping you from just picking up the book?
It would have stopped the villains at the beginning of the movie, though.
Right.
Can't have that.
Right,
I don't know,
exactly.
It just hit me like you have these ancient books with these powerful spells, and all you have is one old guy protecting them.
I mean, Wong does say how super advanced they are, that even they have trouble understanding it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of got me. Like, you think after they gotten stolen, you would have put something there to do something.
Yeah, it was very strange, and I thought the same. Strange. It was very bizarre that he was able to walk up and snag this ancient tome. It was also bizarre that Wong just lets him into the good section, into like the big boy section. Like, I think you're ready.
I thought he had to get the cape of invisibility to get in there after the school was closed.
Well, yeah, while he's listening to Beyonce, yeah. But
it's a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
That was a joke where the joke was going, yes.
I got it, don't worry.
Oh, okay. It took me a second. Okay.
I think for the first movie,
yeah, it's the first one.
Okay, it's been a long time since I've seen any of those. But no, I mean, he takes back the forbidden book that should have been locked up in a safe, puts the book back, and it just kind of hit me like, you think, and then he even said, "I'm like, no book will leave when I'm here." And I'm like, no book did leave, buddy. They just stole 2 pages and left.
It's fair,
right? It's very fair.
Found your loophole, Wong.
And then when you see Hannibal again, because the next scene jumps to Hannibal, he's gonna be Hannibal the rest of this movie. He has the mark of Dormammu on his forehead now. And everyone does. So they've been using the magic now for a little while to receive the power. And I think it's interesting that the whole reason that they're doing this is because they want eternal life. And by working with Dormammu, you get eternal life, is what they're up to. But you start to get a lot of eyeshadow problems, too, when you follow Dormammu.
Eyeshadow. Yeah, that's just fine. It's just evil people summoning spells. Okay, just bridging the gaps. So
I mean, Matt Mikkelsen is just an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's very good.
And the special effects in this movie with the floors moving and everything happening, it's just, I really enjoy it. And I also like their motivation that they want eternal life. They feel like the Ancient One has lied to them and told them that they should stay away from Dormammu, and that's why they're going to him. There's also a real powerful scene I didn't catch here at first. When they're in the church, when they first summon Dormammu, he's able to start moving the church around like he did in the mirror world, but he's not in the mirror world, showing that he can now control reality.
Right.
Which I did not catch when I watched this 2 days ago.
Yeah, because I think later on the Ancient One points that out. Which you think that's a good enough power. You don't need eternal life. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
So this is also, in the next part you have, they're in the training and they're using the sling rings to open portals. And I'm thinking to myself, like, they don't, because if I remember correctly, later on he doesn't need that anymore to open portals, nor does whoever the Sorcerer Supreme is.
It's a pretty big plot point because he loses it at one point too.
Yeah.
And when I don't think we're there yet. When Ancient One shows him the mirror dimension, she's like, "Make sure you don't lose your sling ring, or you're stuck here."
Yep. Yeah,
that's a little bit later. Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's funny because I agree with you. I felt like, do you really need that thing? Is it kind of like the Schwartz in Spaceballs, where if you lose the ring, like you're bone, and then he goes, "No, you don't need it." So, but no, you do need that mystical little object to do it. And they have a bunch of them. I wonder where they get those mass produced. Yeah, sitting around.
I like the joke where he's like, "My hands, I can't do it. I don't have my hands don't work." And then the guy comes over that you saw earlier, the old Chinese guy, and he has no hand, and he does the spell just fine. I like that where she's like, "You don't need hands."
Where does he put his sling ring? I guess on his other hand.
He's got
yeah,
two. But what about people that don't have either hand?
That's right. You put it in your teeth and you just rattle your head around. That's how that works. It's fine.
I was just going to say Velcro it, but so I guess the Ancient One uses the sling ring too. So I guess you do need it. I thought maybe that he can do it without the sling ring later, but maybe I'm adding things that weren't in the series. I
don't think they're consistent with it, to be honest. Like I think later on he's just creating those portals, and it doesn't imply that he has a sling ring because the sling ring, if I'm not mistaken, like takes up 2 fingers. I think, doesn't it? Isn't it one of the? It takes like 2 fingers. So there are definitely moments in this. And I thought about that where he's just making these portals running around. and it doesn't really show that he has that thing on us. I don't think this film's consistent with that piece of the mythos, but again, gotta do movie stuff. So
yeah, this is the part where she takes him. I like how she takes him to Everest. Says, you'll last 30 minutes before you die, but in 2 minutes you'll suffer. You'll pass out from shock. And she leaves him there because he won't surrender to the magic to use it. So she figures she's going to put him in a life or death situation to have him learn.
She's going to throw him in the deep end to teach him to swim.
Basically, yeah.
And I like this part because Mordo comes up. He's like, not again, because showing she's done this with somebody else before.
Which is very good, yeah.
I was wondering if there's a dead body somewhere off camera.
Just thinking that too. It's like surrounded by skeletons or what? I guess.
I mean, he's a horror movie director, so I wouldn't be surprised. Now I'm looking at the scene to see if there is a random body somewhere, but no, I don't see anything.
She wouldn't let that happen. She sure wouldn't leave evidence.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that part. But I like it. I think it's a good part, and I like how she's moving the fan in her hands. It's like, count probably in a way. That's how I took it as. She was counting.
Oh, I just figured she was nervous about the whole thing because he was taking too long.
Okay, maybe I'm just assuming here.
Yeah, that was my take. Was she's just nervous, like, oh boy, did I send this guy to freeze to death?
Yes, you did. And it's very good. Like, this is when you start feeling more for the character. He finally shaves his beard or gives himself the goatee, and I really like the evolution of Doctor Strange throughout this movie. Like, it gets better and better, but here's a very good part where he's really starting to like understand and kind of take charge of his life again in a way and not be the way he was.
I actually don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
I think it's too. And again, I know the movie has to get going, right? We can't sit here. We're at 45 minutes, I think, in this film at this point, and we only got 2 hours. Like, these side movies, they don't exceed 2 hours. They kind of realize, yeah, our main tentpole movies are 2.5 plus. We're inching up. These little ones have to kind of just get done, and it's just another situation where all of a sudden he's just good at things again. Now all of a sudden, he's portaling around, he's stealing the book, and he's doing all the magic stuff. And there's more growth coming because there is that scene where he learns how to do combat, not just the sorcery with Mordo. But for me, it was so much. It seemed like he was progressing almost too fast. But then I should say later on when he's fighting Big Bad for the first time, he's woefully unprepared. But I think his progression just seemed like a little too fast for me, especially this particular cut from him barely getting out of Mount Everest and then using, basically the portal gun to steal the tome of astrophysics.
But that scene is so funny where you have, because earlier he sounded like Beyonce, and the guy acts like he never heard of Beyonce. He's listening to all the single ladies while he's stealing the books from him right behind him, and then he steals the book he was reading.
So I questioned this when we were watching it, and I'm like, did he really not know? And then Doctor Strange kind of turned him on to listen to Beyonce, or did he really know who Beyonce was and he was just fucking with him?
I just had that thought, honestly. I just had like, I wonder what he was up to.
And this is when you first get the mirror realm explained to you, because after this he gets a new outfit, and this is when she's teaching him how to practice his spells inside the mirror dimension so nothing else is affected.
I like the scene right in between these two is where he's sleeping and it shows his astral form reading the books. Like, I would love to be able to do that.
Man, talk about multitasking. Are you kidding me? And he references, and again, this for me is very plot devicey, is that he has a photographic memory, so he can just remember anything he looks at, And it's like, okay, well, I guess that is a device to move us along. He doesn't have to relearn anything. He sees it. He's got it. Move on.
That's a real thing too, right? Photographic memory?
Absolutely. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how it works in the real world, but yes, photographic. Are you kidding me? I can't remember what I had for breakfast 2 hours ago.
No, I'm the same way. Like, I cannot remember. Like, if someone tells me, hey, go get this, I won't remember shit. If you want to ask me, when did this happen and how did this happen 2 years ago, I will tell you what happened, but I can't remember. I can remember I can remember event. Like, if we had an event that happened, I can tell you about the event. But if you're telling me to remember something to go do something, not happening.
Yeah, events have more of an impact on you than
plus I remember
down a list.
Like, I can recite to you Chrono Trigger from beginning to end, even before this past week, flawlessly. But I couldn't tell you when you tell me to remember get milk at the store. I won't remember milk.
Priorities.
Well, Chrono Trigger is a priority, but that's not my story. Hear about that later. Well, actually, you've already heard about that story, so it'll be on here by then. And I do like you have a scene with Mordo and Doctor Strange are training where he's teaching him how to fight, and he's telling him how they'll eventually have to fight for their life. And I think this is when he goes on the whole rant about how he's a doctor and he just wants to save lives, not take them or something.
Yeah, because that comes back around. I like Mordo basically talks to him about Dungeons and Dragons magic items. He's got the boots that let him jump around on glyphs and stuff.
I love the boots.
Stuff.
The boots are great.
Oh wow, we timed that out well. Yeah, the boots are fantastic.
I don't know enough about Mordo's character, unfortunately, from the comic. I don't know if that staff and the boots are something that the character has. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about the character, really, other than he exists and wears a green and yellow outfit, usually, in the comics. That's all I know.
Yeah.
He was in some cartoon, too. I think the cartoon you were referencing, too, Mike.
Yeah, he's in Spider-Man.
The animated series one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably where I know him from, then. Because I know I've watched some of that before.
Yeah, I think that's a Doctor Strange episode, too.
Okay, that's probably my only experience with Doctor Strange before this, then. Well, there is a Doctor Strange animated movie, which is not too bad. That came out.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Which is saying something, because the Marvel animated movies are usually garbage. So
yeah, they're the opposite of DC, where the DC animated movies are awesome and their live action movies suck.
Yeah. So I mean, the fighting scene's all right. Like, it just adds more context between the two characters about their relationship, and trying to show that he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to learn. He still wants to heal himself. He's still full of himself. He still wants to just be able to go back to work again. Which, hell, if somebody taught me that I can do magic and do all this, I'd be like, fuck work.
Sign me up.
Well, everything is all fun and games until he realizes that they fight and defend the realms and defend the world. And then he goes, no, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to get my hand fixed so I can save people my way.
If somebody came up to me and said, hey, we're going to teach you magic and you're going to fight for us, and you don't have to go back to work again ever. You don't have to do that. I'd be like, okay, sign me up. Where do I sign that dotted line? I'm here.
Well, I mean, hang on. What's the trade-off then? Because that sounds too good to be true. Yeah. Fighting interstellar beings with just as much power as you, probably more. That's a bit of a risk.
Magic? The thing is, I would still podcast, I think.
You have the Wi-Fi password, so you're in good shape.
Like, hey, coming to you from Tibet. Like...
At some point, I know they talk about it later on, but Jonathan Pangborn went through all this, and he was given that option where he could continue his life, or he could stay and help defend the world from supernatural threats. And he peaced out. He's right out of there. So I guess I want to play basketball.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some basketball with my friends.
I would have stayed.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, listen, you're a better person than I don't know what I would have done.
I don't know if I was a better person, but it's just like, as a kid, I always had that dream to want to do magic, and then you find out magic's not real. But, it's still that,
allegedly.
Yeah, we don't know.
I just have that, I can never join the military. I can never go for that. But if somebody wanted me to start doing mystic arts and I could jump and do all this stuff, I'm in. Plus, I love the idea of portals, because the thing that I hate one of the things I hate the most in life is having to go from point A to point B and between point A and point B when I don't need to be there. I just need to be at point B. I would love the idea of open a portal in my house. I'm at work now. All right, we cut all that transit time that we don't need and have. But that's how my brain has always worked. And this is also when you have him. So he's in the library. He grabs the fucking forbidden book again, and then he picks up. Okay, this bugged me a little bit. Why is the Eye of Agamotto one of the most powerful relics in the world?
Oh, I know.
Sitting there on a pedestal. But I guess he shouldn't have been able to open it. But the relic kind of chose him, so he could open it.
Yeah, because he's looking at some other book, and he sees a drawing of the eye, and he just looks up and sees it there. Look at that.
Well, I would say, too, that they have no problem putting it out in the open, because the people in that, I almost said monastery, but that's kind of what it is. Yeah. The people in that monastery have so much discipline that they're not going to touch it. They understand the power it represents, and it's no, we're not going to touch it. But he doesn't care, because he's arrogant, and he thinks, I can wield anything. I can make circle shields and whips. So clearly I can handle this mystical thing. Sitting on a perch in this library. So I
really do like the apple scene where he's eating an apple and he uses the Eye of Agamotto to rewind time to make the apple whole again, fast forward time to make the apple rotten, and go back and forth. I thought that was really cool.
So I asked my wife, when he makes the apple whole, does it pull the apple that he's already eaten out of his stomach?
That's a terrifying question, sir. I didn't think of that.
I would say yes. Now he's hungry again, but who knows?
I don't know. I mean,
or is it a localized just on the apple?
And really, in the real world, obviously you can't do this in a fun Marvel film. Would it all just come out of his mouth blip, 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 blip?
Gross.
Yeah, see, well, hey, listen. That's where
there's a Dexter Slab episode about that. It's
really?
Equally gross in that. Eats this whole sandwich, and he's got this time control belt, and Dee Dee's messing with it, so he goes in reverse and like spits the sandwich back hole again.
That's funny. I see. I didn't realize that. It's I like this scene a lot. This is such a great illustration of what this thing does. It's extremely important. We as the audience knows how this works. The visual idea of kind of turning the dial, the mystic dial, is quite excellent as well. It all works really well visually, kind of telling us in 15 seconds what this thing does. That's exceedingly important, of course, throughout the rest of this movie.
Throughout the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
Which I want to say I guessed before the end of the movie what this thing was.
Oh, you didn't know it was the time stone?
I think I did.
Okay. Because, I mean, as soon as I saw it glow green, well, I mean, I knew immediately. But then again, I'm big into, I would say even before the MCU was getting this far, I was very big into Marvel at the time. So
I always like the Infinity Gems.
I do too.
My experience with them was that Super Nintendo game, and then Marvel Superheroes.
I've read Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, but Infinity Gauntlet's a pretty good book. So I like it though. I like how he uses I like how he's using the spell, and then they take the book, and he uses the spell to rewind to get the book. And this is when they take the book away from him with some mirror dimension mastery trick, and then they talk about plot armor. Well, not plot armor, but they talk about the plot of the movie where these three sanctums are saving the Earth from Dormammu, and this is when the first sanctum gets destroyed. I want to say.
Well, also, they talk about how dangerous time magic is, how you could be stuck in an endless time, or you could create paradoxes. Like, I'm sure that won't come back into play.
Yeah, and this is the point where we're... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, every time I hear time paradox, I think, Snake, you created a time paradox!
Well, Ocelot shouldn't have been right in his mouth, and I wouldn't have shot him, so...
That's it. That's it. That Ocelot. Yeah, no, this is also a point where I almost called him Mordor. Jeez, I can't remember anyone's names. Is it Mordor?
Mordo.
Mordo. Okay, Mordor is like a Lord of the Rings thing.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Okay, see, that's why I was like... so Mordo starts kind of getting a little conflict with Strange when they're having this argument back and forth about the nature of time, and they kind of explain all that time loop stuff, which is going to be exceedingly important. And he's baffled that Strange can do this at all. Like, he's like, that's some text that we don't know. Like, it takes... I don't know how many spells required to make that happen, which again lends into this idea of the movie kind of pushing us forward. Like, oh, clearly Strange is destined to do this thing, like, right. Which is fine, but it also moves the movie along because it feels very unearned to me because we're not seeing him excel or grow. Like, there's not even like a training montage of him doing better. Yeah. Eye of the Tiger, and he's making better shields, and he's doing the boot jumps and all that, which again he couldn't do. That's not his weapon. that's not his epic weapon. But
it definitely feels like we're missing another time lapse, like the one we had towards the beginning of the movie, to, like you said, to show his progress. Yeah,
a little progress to show that he's doing well. Just all of a sudden, he's like, oh, I can read this mystical book that like 3 people in the world, multiverse can actually read because I have a photographic memory and I took some books out from the library. Like, it's way too rushed and feels kind of unearned. But again, this is movie, as you like to say, movie's got a movie. We got to move it along. There,
you could have had an 80s montage where they're just playing "Time keeps on slipping." I just read stuff.
There you go. No, I'm here for an 80s montage.
Well, you're gonna enjoy Far From Home.
Okay, cool. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, let's just say they were inspired by John Hughes movies. I want to say so. I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it.
It's like 2 or 3 different movies slammed together.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll get there in months.
Yep. So more for us.
No, I think it'll be months if we keep up with the current trend.
Yeah, we'll have. But then we get to that point where
I thought you said 8 months. Sorry.
Oh no.
Not 8. Come on now. But now we get to a point where they're kind of describing, a lot of the plot of the film, like who they are. Because Strange actually asks, he goes, so who are we? Like, what is this cult that I'm a part of now? And I wrote down, good point, Mr. Strange. No one's really told us, what these people are. And now we learn that they're protectors of the different realms. And there's 3 different sanctuaries that protect the Earth from no goodniks. And and there are all sorts of defenders. We learn about Dormammu, which he's important. He's the evilest evil guy that ever eviled. Clearly, evil force that just eats worlds. He's basically Mass Effect Reapers, right? Like, right? That's kind of what they do.
Like, we can't use Galactus, so we'll just make Dormammu Galactus.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the one thing that bugged me because Ramu is a big, tall guy with a flaming skull. This is not a big, tall guy with a flaming skull.
No, this is a big CGI face that looks kind of funny and kind of scary all at the same time.
He looks less stupid than Parallax did in the Green Lantern movie.
Fair enough. I didn't see Green Lantern either. No.
That's okay.
Jeez.
I like that.
We don't need to do that one.
I really like that movie. I watched it recently. I still really like that movie. But we have other movies to get to that are more important, like Blade 2 and Blade Trinity. So.
Oh, God. I changed my mind. Let's see Green Lantern.
I don't know if I want to.
Blade 2 is really good.
Uh-huh.
You
guys said Blade 1 was really good, too.
That's funny.
I think I said it. I think I agreed it was still good, if I remember right. But we're neither here nor there. But so what part are we at now where he goes into the Sanctum in New York?
Yep, he goes to the New York Sanctum because the big bad explodes. Goes boom. He explodes them into the New York Sanctum because he shows them the doors, right? You can get to the other ones through here. And Big Bad comes and invades I guess they're in the wait, which sanctuary are they in? Because they're not in London.
I think he's in the New York one.
Because he gets blasted into the New York one.
No, yeah, they're into Nepal, and then when he blows up London, it knocks him into the New York one.
But I thought there was only 3 sanctuaries because he only mentions maybe it was 3 outside the Nepal one. So Nepal, Hong Kong, London,
Hong Kong.
It's like Princess Peach's castle. It's the hub world.
Gotcha. It's the hub world. Very good. Yeah, it's the Citadel. So we because you just did Mass Effect, so I figured. Yeah, so he gets blown into the sanctuary in New York. This is a pretty neat scene, and I like how the director really wants you to know it's New York. Really wants you to know it's New York. So because he steps outside and you see the sign on the door is Bleecker Street. If you don't know it's Bleecker Street, pan out. If you don't know what that is, pan out. If you don't know, Skyline.
I don't know.
This is New York. All of a sudden, Sinatra starts playing in the background and all that. I thought it was just pretty clever how they're like, we need you to know this is New York. And everyone knows what Bleecker Street is.
I don't.
I think it's just one of those comic book addresses that's supposed to be well known.
Oh, really?
So I think
Mike's right. I think I know what he's talking about vaguely.
Like Sherlock Holmes's
Bleecker Street. Yeah.
Yep. And it's not Bleecker Street. Oh God, dang it! I should know this. How much I watch dang Sherlock Holmes stuff?
Is it Baker Street?
Baker Street, yeah, 221B, Baker Street. Yes. I thought you said Bleecker Street again. I was like, wait, what? Sorry.
No, I do like the fight scene when he's fighting the cult members and they're just climbing on the walls and stuff. I thought was really cool.
Yeah, this is cool. We're in the New York Sanctuary fight. Lots of really neat stuff going on here.
Like the treadmill where he's just running nowhere. I love that.
I like that when he uses his magic to again move that treadmill. And I do like too is this the point when Strange puts up the Mirrorverse?
In a little bit. First, he gets thrown out into the desert with the other guy that he leaves, or woman, or whoever the hell cult member he leaves there, which they end up coming back eventually anyway, I'm pretty sure. And you have the fight with the other cult member.
Yep. I like how he that corridor that was once the treadmill goes vertical a la Uncharted 2. It is really good. He kind of chucks those hench people out magic windows, which is very good as well. That's cool thing too.
Yep. I like the whole bit of him just walking around exploring this place. You see all the magic items sitting around, and those portals that lead to. There's one to the desert. There's one to a rainforest. There's one to the ocean. It's very cool.
It is very cool.
Thrown the guy in the ocean, and his problem would have been taken care of a lot faster.
I don't think he was thinking too much. I think he was just trying to get him away from him. So, but they both come back, right? They both.
Yeah, when Hannibal launches his assault towards the end, they come from the desert portal. So to show that they had to go pick this person up.
I wish I could get this reference, but there's a part when they're fighting, when Dr. Strange is fighting Hannibal, and he grabs an urn of some sort, and Hannibal freezes for a second, and then he looks at him and he's like, you don't know how to use that, do you? And I wish I knew what that was, because it has to be something from the comics, but I have no idea what it is, and it bugs me.
Yeah, I don't know. I just took it as a magic item that he just didn't understand.
Yeah, but it looks like it's from the comics.
Yeah, and there's a lot of quips in this too. Like they kind of quip at each other a bit. This is where I think the Mr. Strange or Dr. Mr.
Mr. Doctor.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Mr.
It's strange. A little.
Yeah, they trade a few little quips here that are cute.
Apparently, you can see Avengers Tower when they do that skyline thing that you were just talking about.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't pay attention.
I didn't either, but comic book resources told me just now. I'm trying to see if they say what that thing was that he picks up, because I'm really curious now, so I'm trying to find out.
Gotcha.
Apparently, Black Knight's helmet can be seen in that scene too. For those that don't know, Black Knight is one of the Avengers off and on for some reason.
I don't recognize that name.
He is not a well-known character. So
Gotta love those little Easter eggs. I think that's they always do. They're so good at that. We mention it almost every show how good they are at these little Easter eggs for the super fans and the hardcore fans. Yeah, good for them.
Yep.
So now we meet. Obviously things look really grim. Our big bad has Doctor Strange in a compromised position, and then the goodest good bro that Doctor Strange could ever have.
The best character in the movie.
The best character in the movie. I'm not kidding. I agree. His cape is so fun and has personality.
I love the cape.
Cape rules. So
Cloak
good.
of Levitation is basically the magic carpet from Aladdin.
Yes.
That's it.
And that scene where he gets thrown off the stairwell, come back up with the cape, and then he fails at his little whip thing is just awesome.
That is a really cool looking scene of him just floating up from the off camera.
Yeah, he gets that big hero shot, right? The Doctor Strange hero shot. And does the event, some sort of heroic theme plays. And I'm like, is that the Avengers theme that plays? I don't think so, but it was like this kind of heroic Marvel-y theme that plays as he kind of rises from that staircase.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I guess it's this Marvel-ass music theme. But what I love about this whole sequence too is that, again, he's woefully unprepared for this. Like, he is outmatched at every turn. Like, he is not this person's equal. He's putting together, like fourth grade style shields and whips, and this guy's throwing graduate student, clear stabby. Everybody say clear stabby things, just clear daggers and spears, and folding things like Legos. But it's good because, again, it's showing that Strange has to kind of use some of his cunning and know-how and just instincts, really, to kind of survive this attack. He's just surviving. He's not trying to take out this guy. He just wants to live, and his great cape pal saves the day. Pulls him towards it's very funny.
He goes to reach for the axe.
He's reaching to the axe, and the cape's like, no, there's a thing here that's better. And then he throws this, I'm sorry, terrifying.
What do you even call this thing?
I don't know. It's like an Iron Maiden. It's like a mobile Iron Maiden. If you're, I don't know, but it traps him in these really grotesque pins and bolts. And I was like, oh, that is creepy, especially when it first hits Big Bad and he starts kind of walking backwards slowly because it's pushing them into a kneeling position.
It's like a medieval straitjacket.
Yes, exactly. And it was very horror. And again, now that I know this director kind of lives in that world of jump scare horror, that's good. It's effective. I was like, I don't like that at all.
That really does shed a lot of light on some of these weirder scenes. Like, oh yeah, okay, this guy it's his bread and butter.
Sure thing. This is his wheelhouse. Yeah, this is his wheelhouse. Yeah.
And this is also when he's talking with Hannibal, because he takes off a little mouthpiece and he tells him all about how Tilda Swinton is actually talking with Dormammu and this and that, and kind of goes all into it, which is what fuels more of the movie. But he kind of like tells him what his whole plan is too. Yeah,
and this is just the exposition of what what the bad guy's going to do. Yeah, and this is fine. He has to kind of do this. There's no stakes. He's clearly, trapped in this medieval torture device. And yeah, no, it's fine. Again, this is just more exposition explaining his goal isn't, again, this is kind of a Thanos light.
But also, he's buying time is also what he's doing, because Hannibal realized he doesn't have a sling ring, so he's actually just stalling him.
Right, which is fine. But this is a good opportunity for us to learn about this world as well. Yeah, just his motivation. I want to save the world through letting us join the ultimate one, so we can all enjoy, eternal life.
Enjoy.
No, you'll see how that's enjoyed later on. Oof.
They do make a comment about the tribunal at some point in this movie. I don't remember what they say, but they do say tribunal. For those that don't know, tribunal is part of like the gods that rule the Marvel universe or something of that nature.
Huh.
So that's a reference to that, which is what the Eternal movie that came out this November. Remember, before the pandemic hit, that came out this month. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
That's about them. So we're supposed to get it this month.
Like how Black Widow came out in February.
Yeah, I'm still upset about that.
Great?
It was supposed to be May. I am still upset we never got our Black Widow movie because
it'll come. Hey,
it'll come to Disney Plus for $30, like Mulan did.
I'll buy it for $30.
For ScarJo?
Yes.
Yeah,
No question.
he will buy it for ScarJo. That's funny.
Did I buy Mulan? No. Will I? No. But Scarlett Johansson movie? Hell yes.
So yeah, we get the motivation. Actually, what's cool about this too is that Strange starts to kind of turn like, because his thing is extending life. Like he is a doctor. That's his Hippocratic oath, right? And so he's kind of thinking, maybe you got a point there, ugly eyes. But then realizes that this is not the. This is this is not the, because he even says like, yeah, it looks like it did a good job for you.
And this is also a part that I didn't really, because while he's stalling him, he makes a comment how you forgot your sling ring, and then after Doctor Strange gets stabbed and he's crawling away, it's like a horror movie. The villain is walking behind him with a dagger to kill him and just walking towards him because he's and I'm just like, oh, it's a straight up. I'm watching it right now. It's a straight up horror movie.
Until the good bro.
His good bro arrives and saves the day.
Oh my God, this scene. Cape wraps around the guy's head, just slamming him into the floor repeatedly. Repeatedly,
over and over again. No concussions in this multiverse. Oh no. Let's just slam this man's head into the floor 30 times. Okay. One of the things I really noticed, and again, this all makes sense now, is he's not just bleeding, he's spurting. Yeah. Like the blood is spurting from him, which is scary. Blood dripping or growing on a shirt. We've all seen that a million times, but spurts are in the realm of horror, and that was effective and shocking for me for a Marvel movie. You know, he hits the ground and there's blood everywhere. Like he is not apologetic on how it's treating. It's more, I don't say gore because it's not gore, but treating the more brutal part of his experience. So he portals himself to the hospital. Well, that's a great idea. I would do that. Where Christine just happens to be in the hallway and says, you're hurt. Let's just put you in this vacant surgery room because there's no way surgery's happening all the time, every day at a major hospital.
So not far behind, like in real life. There's been no pandemic yet, so they're not all behind for the last 3-4 months.
They book these surgeries weeks in advance. There is somebody either prepping for a surgery, doing surgery, or recovering from surgery. This is vacant. Just come on here and get some free medical care. Like that uniform of yours doesn't have pockets. Do you have your insurance card by chance? I need to check you in. Don't worry about it. No, it's fine. Just go on the thing. We'll take care of you. It's fine. I'm nitpicking slightly, but
you're not wrong. The American medical system would not have let him anywhere near where he got to. Like, oh, you're dying? Well, we got to see your insurance card first. Okay, your insurance didn't check out, but I'm dying. Your insurance didn't check out, sir. How are you going to pay for this?
No. Obviously, no. If you showed up at the emergency room and you had a stab wound that no one's ever seen before in this universe, they would fix you. Like they would help you. They're not going to lead you there to
be one person in a room with the lights off.
Right, but not in the slapdash fashion, probably. Hey, can we get a gurney here? We need some doctors. Let's get an IV. Let's do the thing. No. Let's go. Just go here. I got some stitches, some thread. I got an EKG machine or whatever the hell the thing is.
I'll shove a needle in you and start extracting blood.
Yeah, I'll shove this needle in you. You tell me where to go. Oh, you could put your finger through your flesh. Oh, that's fine. I'm just going to go with that.
I like the astral projection where she just gets fucking terrified. I mean, I would too. And then
he doesn't save him. He doesn't help the fact he's like, hey, a little higher. It's just like not. Hey, don't freak out. It's just.
And she again. This is a movie thing. She just goes with it. She just rolls with it. Go, okay. Clearly, my ex-boyfriend.
Takes a solid minute.
Yeah, my ex-boyfriend just came out of space and time and is instructing me on how to, stab you with the needle. Okay.
And I also like the ghost fight. I mean, I know some people might think it's stupid. I know my wife thought it was stupid, but I enjoyed the ghost fight, and I like it. The vending machine part made me think of Mike, because I know Mike sent me a picture not too long ago where the vending machine is being mean to him. And when I saw the guy, when they fly through a vending machine, this doctor just bought a bag of chips, and then he goes and he gets a bunch of free chips. And I just saw that story, Mike, with your pop.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. The vending machine, it's got one of those ones where the arm comes up and it drops down into it and then brings it to the little door. And, if it doesn't fall in that little arm just right, it just drops it. Like, you asshole.
Those robots are complex.
I'd rather have it partly shook up than from falling.
I want the ability to use physical force to wrench my Doritos out from I don't want to rely on a robot that's has to be perfectly timed. Yeah, those things are never great. They break all the time. Fun topic for our Marvel.
That's just what
that sucks. That's just the worst thing. That's one of those little things that happen in life that just suck.
I mean, it does suck, but it's just the fact that he had that story, and then we watched this movie, and then I had that scene. I'm just like, That's all.
And it's a funny bit in the movie too. It's clever. I thought the Astro fight was slightly dumb. I thought it was kind of stupid. I kind of agree with your wife to a point. I don't know. It just looks dumb. Two Astro figures.
At least they weren't making clay sculpture, so I was okay.
Wow.
I don't like
reference.
I know.
I don't get the reference. What's the reference?
Ghost.
Oh, Ghost. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, I've never seen Ghost.
Model. I don't know. I know why it came out of my head just now because I was watching as I've been doing a lot of editing, like editing Civil War. I was watching the movies that made us why I edit, and it was a Dirty Dancing thing. So I'm just singing "She's Like the Wind" in my head right now. But
I do like the final bit in this where she with the paddles, and I don't know why I can't place the name of said paddles, but she gives them what's that?
A defib.
Defib. Thank you. Yeah, defib.
You know what it is.
The fibrillator, the defib, which the crash cart. There you go. She kind of gives him the defib, and that just gives him like this crazy explosion of yellow power that blows him back, and he's like, "Hit me again!" And that's how he kind of traps him and just hits him with all this energy that evidently the defib is putting through his astral projection because mysticism, and it finishes off the dude, kills him dead. His mark of Dormammu fades, and we know he's gone.
I do like this part though when he wakes up. And he's like, "I have to go do this." She's like, and he's telling her about how they enlighten him. She's like, "That sounds like a cult." He's like, "It's not a cult." She's like, "That's what a cultist would say." It is. I mean, It is great. I just like her. Okay, yeah.
He's like, I came through a portal in the janitor closet. Yeah, okay, whatever. And opens the door and sees the portal, and she's just like, huh. And he goes to the portal, and she's just standing there, and the broom falls, and she screams. It's like, oh my gosh, she's such a treasure in this movie.
She's great. And that
was like part of the scene, or if they literally just dropped a broom and she screamed.
Yeah, my wife asked the same thing. It's like, I wonder if that's ad-libbed.
Yeah, I wonder, or if she didn't expect that to happen and just heard that.
I like that. That happens in movies all the time where they don't tell the actor something and they just do something to get a real reaction out of them.
Right.
No. Like in Godfather, the horse's head in that movie, if I remember correctly, is a real horse's head, and the actor didn't know it was going to be a real horse's head. They didn't tell. They said, "Oh, it's going to be a fake one." And when they did the scene, it wasn't fake. That scream you hear is a real scream.
Gross.
Yep. Yeah, that's a true story about The Godfather. I also like the fact that this little scene, while also kind of reestablishing the relationship between Strange and Christine, it's also a great opportunity. He basically recaps the entire film so far. That way, in case you went to the bathroom, like you're caught up. Because if you went to the bathroom during this, you miss a minute of this movie, man. It's hard to come back. And he also allows everybody else to go to the bathroom who already knows this. All right, fine, we get it. Yeah.
This also helps define. This is where he changes. Like he just killed somebody. He comes back in the sanctum, and he's much more different than what he was after. Like I like how they said, "Are you okay?" That's a relative term. I like that. I like how you start seeing him change.
Well, it's also not change. He kind of tells Mordor that, or Mordo. He tells Mordo, he's like, I killed the guy. I took an oath to not kill people, which is weird. And you're right. This is a kind of a change because if he was, early movie Doctor Strange, he wouldn't have cared. He would have been more upset with the fact he couldn't have saved them. Like he failed as opposed to someone actually passing away. So this is a bit of a softening of Strange where he's like, I took an oath. I'm not killing people. Like if you want me in this battle, this war, and it requires this, I'm not doing it. And him and Mordo have a really good blowout where I'm not going to butcher the actor's name, but Mordo, his acting is fantastic. Very dramatic, like not quite Thor dramatic, but very almost theater where it's impassioned and he's got strong set morals. Like we have to fight. You have no idea what I've done. I'm going to save this world, to protect it.
This is when he breaks. This is his breaking point.
This is when he kind of breaks bad a little bit because then he learns that, I forget how Strange learned this.
Because of Hannibal told him.
Oh, that's right. Because Hannibal told him. So Strange basically tells him the Ancient One has been leeching power from Dormo to keep herself alive. And when Ancient learns this, she breaks a little bit. Like she's kind of like, it's clear Strange's got it right. And this is exactly right when he now starts to question everything he's been taught for who knows how long, and his entire being is just kind of shattered in this, and his entire morality is shattered in this. It's very effective and very tough. It's a good one. It's an excellent scene, and again, the actor who plays Mordor is really, really good in this.
Yes, he is. Like,
And then the movie has to keep going, so Hannibal shows back up.
That's right. The catalyst. That's right. He's like, I'm back. Let's go. See the script? We got to get cracking here. Let's go.
You lay it on the table for a few minutes. You had your rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Round two.
Take a breather.
I really like it when he breaks. Like, I didn't catch that before, but now that I know where this movie goes, just like I was watching his facial expressions when that happens, and he just, you can just see, I just love the way he breaks, and like you were saying, the way the actor pulls it off, and just the expression and everything. Like, it's just, you're right, it is so good. He does a great job with this. Like, he looks like he's about to cry as he's saying it. Like, he just delivered these lines so emotionally. It's really cool. I'm watching it as we're speaking, but it's really cool.
Yeah, Mordo at the very end calls him spineless. Like, woo! Just with this venom and this disdain, like you just don't have the guts to help anybody but yourself, because this whole time you won because you protected yourself. And that is so powerful. Like, he's like, your motive is not altruistic. Like, you're not looking to other people. You just stayed alive. You survived, which he did. That's exactly what he did.
Oh, and also a small reference that I never even got till I reading this thing. The guy who dies in the Sanctum right before the scene is the brother of a Marvel character, Dr. Voodoo.
Okay.
I think it's Dr. Voodoo. Or is it Miss
Cool.
Brother Voodoo? Sorry, Brother Voodoo.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either, but that's what CBR says.
So Michael, we are now, like you said, Big Bad jumps in because movies got to keep on moving. We got 30 minutes left in this. What do you think about part 2 of this battle?
Yeah, they're trying to drop another spirit bomb to blow up this sanctum. So we saw it once before. I can't remember where. I think it's what knocks Strange.
Yeah, definitely blows up London. But they didn't take 3 episodes to get their spirit bomb off. They just did it. This one, they're actually charging the spirit bomb, so a little different. Because he's able to do the mirror dimension thing to them, and this is where they realize that they're altering the mirror dimension as they're running away from them. This is a cool scene, though. It's just a lot of science, like special effects, but I like it a lot.
More Inception.
Yeah, but it's cooler than Inception.
I should really see that movie sometime.
You've never seen Inception?
I've never seen it.
It's a good movie. We're not doing an episode about it. But
it's
I
fine.
kind of want to see Deception, though, after Bill's talking about it.
Listen, I think I still have the description up here somewhere. Yeah.
Hey, Obi-Wan's in that movie, so it can't be all that bad, right? Wayne McGregor's in the movie. But also, did you get the Stan Lee cameo that they have when they're running? They fall into a bus, and Stan Lee's in the bus laughing about something.
Did anyone catch what he was reading? Because he says it's hilarious, but I couldn't. I didn't. I
actually did. I actually did, and I took the time to research what that was, because I've never read it. It's a book called I've written here, The Doors of Perception by Aldous Huxley. And the Doors of Perception is a book, and this actually makes that little bit quite funny. It's a book written by, again, Aldous Huxley, describing his experiences with mescaline in the 1950s. And it's basically kind of like Naked Lunch from William S. Burroughs, only not as brutal and sick and twisted and depraved. It's basically just him extolling the virtues of mescaline and his experiences with it, kind of in that whole beat writing era. Yeah, it's a book about a drug addict written by someone who's really into drugs, about his drug use.
That would be interesting, though.
But it's because mescaline has psychotropic properties, so it makes a lot of sense that book would be referenced. After we've seen like literally LSD style imagery.
Like I said, they did drugs when making this book originally.
I was just going to bring that back up because, like Mike said, it fits in par with what he actually did to come up with this character.
Documented fact too. Like they admitted, like, yeah, we were doing all sorts of drugs when we were writing this book. We didn't know what the fuck to do. So I think that's all. I've never read early because I can't read early Marvel comics, but
that is hilarious.
But yeah, that's what that reference means. It's basically like, hey, isn't this fun? Isn't this trippy, mind-bending stuff hilarious and great? And we might have been on drugs when we wrote it. So yeah, it's pretty good.
When they're in the mirror dimension, right before Mr. Doctor is about to die from Hannibal, that's when Tilda Swinton shows up, and I really like all this Inception stuff. Like, it is just such a good, and this is when you see the Dormammu symbol appears on her forehead,
because she had a hood on in the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And this is when Mordo sees that she's actually using the dark power, and he's done after this.
He's done. He's broken. I want to get your opinions real quick because this is a major part of this film, and this is kind of the tentpole Inception style, building, folding, world breaking, mirrorverse stuff. What did you guys think about it as far as framing action? Michael, I'll kind of start with you on this one. What was your kind of take on it?
It's kind of all over the place. Like until they're on that platform that she creates, even then the camera's jumping between cuts. It's kind of hard to follow the whole thing.
It's impossible to follow. It makes no sense because you're basically, it's like a kid taking Lego pieces in a box and just shaking it. The problem is that the camera you have no frame of reference as to where a character is in space, where they are in space.
Not that I'm doing it good because space is constantly changing.
Right, space is constantly changing, so you have no frame of reference to where anybody is. So it's just a person running against a CG background with all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And so you have no sense of motion because everything's moving. Everything's spinning, everything's twisting. So towards the end of it, it's exhausting. I was just like, oh wow. I mean, yay, you and your computers did some fun stuff, but man, I have no idea who's chasing who and who's fighting who. And I think Mordo's fighting the two zealots, and I don't know. It's very imaginative to look at from a visual perspective, but as far as an action scene, I think it fails pretty hard because there's no sense of tension because, again, I don't know where anybody is in reference to anybody else. So I don't know if Big Bad is right behind Strange or 15 feet above him.
Under him at one point when he's running up the staircase and Hannibal's on the bottom running across it.
Yeah, what are you doing? Again, this is all neat stuff and it's cool to look at, but as far as an action scene, I think this kind of falls on its face pretty hard, especially since it's the last one we get with all that world bending stuff, if I remember correctly, because the final one is just destruction.
Yeah.
So
I really like it. Yeah, I really like this one. I had no problem with it. I didn't have a problem following along what was happening. I was just all on board.
This is our God, I can't believe I'm going to reference this. This is our Dark World episode all over again with the final fight and that with all the portals. And I'm like, yeah, I totally know what's going on.
I can't even remember what you're talking about. And it's not a purpose. I just don't. Like I've said before on the show, and I've said other places, that movie is so fucking forgettable. I can't even remember. I vaguely know what you're talking about.
You edited the episode, sir.
I know. That movie's just so forgettable.
Fair enough. This really falls on his face for me, and yeah, I won't repeat myself, but yeah, then finally they make a nice still stage for everyone to just sit and not move for a minute.
And I forgot this as I'm watching it. Like the only way that Kalis or Hannibal is what I'm trying to pronounce his name. Hannibal kills the Ancient One is because she's fighting someone else and he stabs through the guy to stab her.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And there's a scene, and then then he stabs her. He pretty much kills her, kicks her out through a portal. I don't know why he didn't just leave her in the mirror dimension, but kicks her out. She falls through glass, and then there's a scene here we're about to get to that I can't wait to hear Bill's opinion on. But like when she hits the glass, he picks her up and he runs to the hospital. And you see Rachel McAdams again, like, oh God, not again. She hears his voice.
That's funny.
And I love that reaction.
He brings this woman on, has this woman on a gurney, and I'm like, okay, makes sense. Like, hey, they need this. And then they let him in the fucking operating room.
So stupid. I mean, listen, okay, come on now.
I'm just
hey, we still have your scrubs there. They're strange. Hey, aren't your hands like ruined beyond recognition? He actually hands like the other doctor like the little needle to like, hey, you do this because he knows he can't. But like, yeah, they just give him some scrubs. Come on in with your bloody face. I don't think they don't put a mask on while we're doing the. I can't go into a supermarket right now without a mask on to buy groceries, to buy bread. And they let this guy into an emergency room where they're starting a procedure completely maskless, just face and blood and sweaty head. And towards the end, after that, then they put a mask on him, and then it's like, okay, fine, I guess they don't need it for the initial procedure. But right before that,
I do want to say before you do that, wouldn't his medical license been revoked? Because he's been gone at this point. I gotta say it's been months. Not to mention you had the car accident. Wouldn't it be like, yeah, you don't work here anymore, sir? What are you doing?
Why don't you just sit him down and say, hey, we got it. We'll do our best.
Go in the waiting room, sir.
Come on in. I remember you, but hey, one more turn around the gurney. Why not? Let's just come on over.
Oh,
that did get me too.
I know well enough to know that he's going to put up a fight if they try to keep him out of there.
Yeah, but there's no way in hell they're going to let him in there. Like, I mean, your wife could be dying. You ain't getting anywhere near there. When you're just some random guy who used to work here and now been missing for months and all of a sudden show up. You ain't coming back in this room. I'd be like, sir, you're not employed here anymore.
Especially after Christine's like, he was just here and he like was floating around as a ghost, and if he comes back up, call the cops.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Bill?
You know what would have been interesting? I do want to go back to Tilda Swinton falling from 80 stories.
No shit.
Which I don't know. That caught me hard because I forgot that she slams to that ground with terminal velocity. Whoa! That was a crushing, no pun intended. That was a crushing scene. When she hits that ground, I jumped. I was like, oh, that's rough. I mean, and it's comic booky because if you fell from that kind of height, you just wouldn't exist. Like there would be almost nothing left. There'd be pieces and parts literally everywhere.
I can see that. Well, fortunately, I don't know this for a fact, but I may know for a fact, but I never experienced it. But if you jump off 4 stories, you're done.
That's it. No, you're not. You cannot survive a 4-story jump. No, if you do 2, you probably never walk again.
Well, there was a guy at the Mall of America that jumped off the 2nd floor of the parking structure to escape the police. He survived.
Yeah, you can survive a 2-story jump.
Because he broke his legs when he hit the ground. But
yeah, you shatter your legs. I mean, you can survive a 2-story jump. You cannot survive a 4. Because
maybe he was on the 2nd floor. He jumped off the 2nd floor to escape the police, and the police just went and collected him at the bottom.
Yeah, I know a little too much about this stuff. I researched it for a story I was writing way back when. So, yeah, there's a little thing called terminal velocity. Once you go around 3 stories, you've hit as fast as your body's going to allow you to go fast, and then that's it. So if you jump from the Empire State Building or 4 stories, when you hit the ground, you're going the same speed because again, your mass of your body does. That's it. This is as fast as your body can fly.
I hate height. No, thank you.
Like, I mean, listen, I don't think anyone should give this a shot. Like, if no one like, I don't want people to think there's like a problem. Like, Bill, you know way too much about jumping out of buildings. Yeah, I was researching.
Well, when I worked at the Mall of America, this didn't happen to me, but one of my coworkers once told me a story. I'm going to bring it up here because this seems like opportune time. The woman was on the 4th floor and he was cleaning. He went by her van, cleaned the garbage around her van because he was just cleaning up. And he got back in his truck. He drove off. After he drove off, she got out of her van and jumped off the thing. And I remember he was telling me about it one night because we worked 3rd shift together, and he's just like, it hit me. Like, he's like, why didn't I do something? Because again, it's not our job, nor would you think to go knock on someone's window and go, hey, are you okay? But he just says like it was Valentine's Day at like 2 a.m. or something, or 1 a.m. when people are still at the mall because they are. And he just didn't think, and I remember him telling me about it. He's like, it hit him hard, like that he was the last person to see her alive before she just leave.
Yeah, that's bad. So hey everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day today, wherever you're listening to this. It's March. Is it nice out? Like, take a walk, maybe? It's like spring, wouldn't matter somewhere where you are.
It'll be spring when you hear this.
Yes. So yeah. I just wanted to point out how brutal and effective that was, and just heart-stopping. Again, no freaking pun intended. Yeah, and then we get to that point where in the doctors, they just let him scrub up and start operating.
I just love that because all I can think of was I just thought of Bill right away. I'm like, man, I bet he's thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this guy doing? He doesn't work here. Like, that's all that came to my mind.
And doesn't he have the ability to astro project? Like, doesn't he? Can't he? So couldn't he just get astro projected himself? And he has the ability to manipulate physical space because we've seen this already. Couldn't he kind of just like guided the doctor a little bit? That would have been cool. I would have been into that.
In the waiting room, sat down in the chair, left his body. Nobody was anything. He's sleeping in the waiting room because people sleep in waiting rooms, and go and do what he had to do. But instead, no, we're gonna scrub up. We're gonna grab the scalpel. We don't work here anymore, but they're gonna let us hold that scalpel.
Hey, Strange, you need your key card still because you might need this to get it. Don't worry about it. We'll let you in. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's pretty stupid. And again, I would even like if an astral projection kind of guided the doctor's hand. If it's Christine doing it, that's a connection. It's him and her, and she can kind of feel him helping her, kind of. That would have been a much more effective way to handle that than just. But we still get an astral projection because him and Miss the Ancient go off to look at a slow motion storm, which is actually really beautiful and cool. It's a great scene.
Like just her talking, their conversation about how, she's kind of fears death a little bit, and how I think she's been alive for hundreds and hundreds of years at this point. They do make a comment that she's
ancient.
Yeah, that too, but she's Celtic. So I was thinking like the Vikings. So she's been around a long time. And I like how you have this moment where she's just realizing it's over. And she's like, I shouldn't be scared. Like, it's just so good. And right before she dies, she grabs his hand. The astral projection grabs his hand, holds it for a second, and then she's gone. And this scene hit me. It was really good.
It's really, really fantastic. Yeah, just some really good work by two good actors. Excuse me. Yeah.
She talks about being able to see into the future, but never past this moment. He's like, oh, this is the moment you think you die.
Which implies that she knew that Strange was coming, and she knew that when she sent him to Everest, she knew he would come back, which kind of makes a lot of that scene, a lot of this stuff feel less tense. Yeah. But whatever, it's fine. I'm all about trading things like that for good scenes, and this is a perfectly fine trade.
And also throughout the movie, she never says "I," she says "your eye," and I took it as she was referencing the eye of Agamotto because she knew.
No. I always took it as like your third eye, like your mental.
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
but I like my theory.
Okay, we'll go with that then.
My wife said the same thing. She was thinking his mind's eye, and I was like, "No, it's the eye of Agamotto." And then you said it, and now so I'm 2 against 1. So you probably are right, because that would make more sense.
Oh yeah, because it's usually perceived like in the forehead, and that's where she puts her thumb when she sends him into the LSD world.
Now your story makes even more sense.
And I don't like it.
That is accurate.
So then we, of course, Miss Swinton passes away. That's a shame. Very sad. And then we get to the. She will be back. Yes, she will. don't cry for her too much. We shall see her again.
Then he gets to hold Rachel McAdams' hands while they're washing hands.
This is extremely sweet, and I'm so glad this didn't end with a kiss, because guess what I was saying?
I know what you were saying.
No, don't. And I would have bought this more than, of course, Thor and Padme. And
I had a whole conversation about this with my wife when we were watching this. I'm like, see, now Bill will be okay with this because it's kind of earned. Now, if it wasn't earned, Bill would be telling me would be very upset right now.
I would be upset. I am not upset. I think it was very sweet. It's obviously much better in Captain America smooching a niece.
Oh, God.
Which I can't get over that almost. I almost can't get over that.
Yeah, watch you grow up. Let's kiss. What are you doing?
He doesn't know yet.
Stop it. So this is great. She gives him a little smooch, right? It's an effective little cheek kiss. It's a tender moment. It's got some weight to it because this has been earned, because we've seen these two kind of go through some ups and downs.
And they've been together before. It's not like, you're hot. Let's sleep together.
They have a history. I think it's very well done. And again, I was very pleased when it was just this cute little smooch, affectionate, lets him go and realizes he's got to go. And then he goes off to our final act.
Oh, but also when we were watching the scene, I brought up like how you hate the Natalie Portman thing, and then I did make the comment about how I'm like, she's only with him because he's hot, and Tiff's like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, accurate. I mean, look, you can believe things you want about that movie, but I don't. That bit's inexcusable. I don't know how. Again, dig what you dig, but I don't know. I don't know how to argue that one.
The cape is wiping tears off his eyes right after that scene too. I didn't catch that.
It's so sweet. Yeah.
I guess
good boy.
Him kind of snapping at it was an ad lib from Benedict Cumberbatch. He told the crew about it, and they're like, "Yeah, that's good. We'll put that in."
Oh, okay.
Stop it.
I love ad lib actors, especially like in a case like this where there is nothing, but a green screen type thing. Like that's really cool. That he's such a good actor.
Oh, he's fantastic. I mean, again, Cumberbatch. I just thought about this. It's like the cape is almost like a very sentient puppy. Like he's a good boy. Like when he's wiped his tears, like, oh, you're a good boy. Yeah, or a good girl.
Oh, and when he goes to Hong Kong, and you see all the people, they say where Wong's like, grab your weapons. One of the girls in the background, who they don't name, but the staff she is carrying, apparently she's one of the runaways from
Nico.
Marvel.
The runaway that uses the staff is Nico. Weird.
I don't know if is it Nico.
This would have been before that show started, Nico, yes. I think.
Before the Runaway series came out, which they said, there's even a reference on this because this came out before then, where, maybe it's going to tie into the TV show. Spoiler alert, the Marvel shows don't tie into the movies like they said they would. Spoilers!
Only Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that was
sort of. Minimal. That's season 1.
Yeah.
Goes away after that when they're like, this is too hard. Yeah, that's just a little thing that I wanted to point out, that she's one of those characters, supposedly. Okay, that's all I got. But
that's cool. I wouldn't have got that by looking at it.
I wouldn't have either, because I don't know anything about the Runaways. I'm just reading stuff. That's all I know.
I watched first couple episodes. It's not bad.
I got broken on S.H.I.E.L.D. and I got broken on Connect, so I just don't care.
Someday I'll finish it in Cloak and Dagger.
You keep saying, oh, did we lose you for a second?
No, I'm good. I was just listening to you guys talk about comic books, a thing I know nothing about. So,
and apparently that wand that Wong is holding is a wand of Watum. I don't know what the wand of Watum is, but apparently that's what it is.
Apparently it's a thing.
I like how you said that these all have D&D names. It's very good.
They're magic items.
They're epic weapons. That's how I kind of framed it in my notes. But yeah, we get to Hong Kong and we have Wong and them kind of defending the Sanctum. They don't do anything. They just kind of line up, for the battle. And then we cut to New York, right? Like they don't fight anything until we cut to New York, where Mordo learns about Tilda Swinton passing. I love how he blames the dark magic. He blames that. He's like, he keeps a theme he keeps saying is the bill always comes due, and that's what he thinks. He's like, the bill always comes due, and that's when he really kind of he's broken bad for a while now. But
no, it's a good scene, and like I like how the whole time they're spent talking, he's talking about how Tilda died and everything, and when they go to Hong Kong, everything is fucked. Like
I love that
they lost.
You lost.
They came to fight, and the fight's already over.
It's a good scene when he realizes that the only option he has is the rewind time. And I like that, like, Hannibal just about to kill him right when he starts rewinding time. Another second, he would have had a glass glass in his eye. And the scene where they start everything just starts happening in reverse is so damn good, though. I can't be the only one that really loved it, right?
Yeah, it actually affects them. They have to dodge the cars driving backwards and stuff.
And I like how he can release certain people. He releases Mordo from the time warp. He releases Wong later on after he brings him back from life, brings him back to life. And I like how Hannibal ends up breaking out of it. Like at one point, all the disciples start to break out of the time warp and are chasing after them. Like they have the power to manipulate reality.
And the director's got more horror vibes here because they kind of like shake around and then they're automatically facing the other direction. It was creepy.
Yeah,
it's good.
There's also a really very quick but very effective moment where, as things are going backwards and resetting, they show a head-on collision going backwards, and this lady was thrown 15 feet from her car. So you see her going backwards into her car. That struck me hard too. She's like, yeah, oofa, that's rough.
I told my wife, I was like, I kind of want a gif of that just to leave work on Friday, like flying backwards into your car to get out of there.
Yeah, that's time to go.
I do like the part where she gets like the one girl gets locked in the aquarium really quick. Like I like that too.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Mondiato, the guy on the wall.
Yep. There's lots of really cool. They utilize this effect to great effect, and I agree with you. I think it's really fun. Them having to work around non-conventional environmental hazards, like it's just really fun, and it is a blast. And unlike the Legoing of the previous action scene, where everything is because these are buildings and it's destruction being fixed, and the good guys kind of succeeding. Right, we're fixing things. We're taking on the bads and succeeding. So it's a very effective scene.
Very well done, I feel. Like I wasn't bored at all during any of this. Like I was just enjoying myself. And I do like CG stuff. I shouldn't say I don't, but this one I thought was just really good. And like you see the world start to come back together from where Dormammu was about to take over. And I don't remember what it is that splits them, but I do like I should say right before when Wong comes back to life, because Wong had said he shouldn't mess with time and stuff. He's like, I'm glad you didn't listen, or something like that. Oh, he says, breaking the laws of nature, I know. And that's when he replies, when he realizes, he's like, well, don't stop now.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that.
Keep doing it.
Wong's pretty great. And his actor's actually named Benedict Wong.
Yep.
Oh, really? Yeah. Cool. That's easy to remember.
It's just such, and then and then what is the catalyst okay, so Hannibal does Donkey Kong Smash, and that's what ends up breaking the time spell that he has going on. So that's why Doctor Strange, because he failed again, essentially, and that's why Doctor Strange then goes all the way to Dormammu. But there's a small scene that I'm going to do a little rant, because I've been watching way too many documentaries lately. You see a street vendor cooking shrimp, and you see a scene where the shrimp and the noodles are all up in the air. And if that is probably a real like street vendor cart, because in a lot of Asian cities, or probably a lot of cities all over the world, but I know for sure in Asia cities, because I've been watching a documentary about Asia street foods, they do cook like that. And I was watching these things, they don't have gloves, they don't have any of the standards that we would like have to have in America. But I mean, it's fine. Like it's just what they do. And it's all interesting because that's how it is. Like just some guy with his little cart just cooking food, or an 80-year-old woman with no teeth just cooking food and selling it to people. Like, that's a real thing all over the place in some of these countries. And to me, like, you know, in America, I feel like we wouldn't really think about that because we don't know a lot. Well, I mean, they do in some places, but it just kind of hit me because I've been watching the documentary a lot. So I just wanted to say that.
They're walking the walk.
Yes. Enough of my rant. Please continue on. I just had to get that out there. Somebody was interested, I think, besides me.
I think I've seen
I want to hear me, but I don't know if anyone else did.
So, sauteing shrimp in a thing that's not been washed for 100 years. No, it's fair.
No, I mean, I was watching
Probably
like
delicious,
street food things, and there was like one where I was in India, they were making food, and they were using they weren't using plate, they were using like this like big leaf as the plate to put the food on, and she just grabbing the food with her hand, doing this and mixing it, and I'm just like, okay.
Neat.
But it's very cool. Like I've been learning a lot about street food, by the way, thanks to Netflix.
Yeah, so not to completely divert, but so when Strange flies, because again, this is the first time we've actually, I think, seen him fly, other than the initial the hero shot in New York. When he flies to Dormammu, did anyone think, how can you breathe? Like,
are your questions like that in this movie? The answer is magic.
Okay, yeah, that's that's the Vaseline that kind of goes over your eyes and say it's magic. So magic breath, very good. What do you all think about how he solved the problem of, because this is not really a fight so much as just solving a problem.
It's a battle of attrition.
It's a battle of attrition, and a really showing of self-sacrifice, because obviously what he does to Dormammu, he gives a bargain, he creates a time loop, and with that time loop, he just basically over and over again comes back to get slain in a different brutal way, and the way he is dispatched are brutal and kind of gross. Like he gets those spears through his body.
More horror vibes.
Very horror vibes.
He gets blown up. Like he just keeps jumping on this Earth planet thingy right in front of Dormammu. He's like, I come to bargain, and he just kills him. And then I like how it takes a few times before Dormammu realizes what's happening, but he realizes that he's stuck in this time loop too.
Yeah, and we realize it too. We realize it. That's kind of what us realizing it as people. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say they mentioned a couple of times that time has no relevance in this realm, so he doesn't even understand what's going on. Like we said.
Oh, right. They did mention that time was. So basically, he says, "Look, I'm just going to keep doing this for forever. So if you want to sit here and slay me forever instead of eating up more worlds, that's not this bargain. Let's get out." And finally, Dormammu agrees and moves his dimension. Okay.
I like, though, like it's the second time it happened that's when he realizes that it's already happened. I thought that's just cool. Like it doesn't take long, and then he's doing it.
And I really do love. It's almost comedic. It's almost Guardians of the Galaxy comedic, where the big villain, who again is this, I want to destroy your world and eat your brains. And he kind of has this one. What's going on? I had a good laugh at that. He's like, oh, what are you doing? He's extremely confused. And I like confused big bads. I don't know why. It kind of tickles me. It's kind of like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. When
what are you doing?
What are you
Call
doing?
It a distraction.
Turd Blossom.
It's so funny. So it's a very kind of comedic, but it's also very effective. And it's good. And it really shows that Strange is now becoming selfless to experience this getting destroyed and killed over and over and over and over again. I mean, Dormammu could have just toyed with him, for like infinity. Like, all right, well, I'm just not going to kill you. I'm just going to injure you to the point of incapacitation and just play with you forever. But I guess he wants to get on with eating worlds, because that's what he's here to do. That's his thing. And
you're 100% Galactus.
What's that?
Is 100% Galactus before they had Galactus.
Oh, let me guess. Sony probably owns Galactus. They traded him like Rachel McAdams and 2 baseball players for the use of him for 5 minutes. I hate this.
Wait till we get the Spider-Man Homecoming.
God.
Galactus is bundled in with the Fantastic Four.
But they own him now.
They own him now, but they probably didn't own him at the time.
Yes, because they didn't have him, because at this time, this is when Fox was still Fox, not Disney Fox. So they didn't have the rights to X-Men or Fantastic Four. They as we will see in the next movie we're going to talk about, Ergo was also a Fox property, but they worked out a deal to get Ergo.
I can't. You know what? I just don't like this.
It's stupid.
For Christ's sake, it's so. I get it. There's billions of dollars at stake, but Lord, it's just weird. The trading of properties just makes me really. I would love to see like a video of just how these properties were traded, like just almost like the draft. Like this was the 2016 draft where Marvel traded up to the 15th spot to select Dormammu, but they had to trade Dormammu for Galactus. Like,
It had to do in the 90s when they sold all the properties off. And
I know. Marvel had to pay the rent. They sold all their properties, and now that they're the biggest movie franchise in the world, they got to get them all back. Like, and all the other property owners are like, we got cash in.
I think Namor's still owned by someone else. I could be wrong, but I don't give a shit. Namor can stay where I don't never need Namor, so I'm good.
Steal him, for God's sake.
All right, he's one of the ones that Universal has, along with Hulk.
They need to get Hulk back, but I don't think they ever will at this point.
Do they need to? Do we need another Hulk solo movie?
No, but they should at least own it.
Ragnarok, that's all we need.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so then after that, he does come with a bargain to Dormammu, and he tells Dormammu to take Hannibal back and leave the Earth, and he does. And I like it when he takes them. It's like they're not excited about what's happening.
Well, they are at first. It's like, we want to be part of the one. He's like, well, you're going to be part of the one, but you're not going to like it.
Yeah, he's like, I've been there, and it's not pleasant. There's the accommodations not great. Not great.
They get snapped. They turn to dust.
Yeah, which is very kind of creepy as well. They kind of turn into husks as they're taken up to.
Like husks, you might say, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they turn into husks as they get taken up to their beloved one, and then Dormammu moves on. Again, he takes his dimension, puts it into drive, and rooms off into the netherworld.
This is where they make the joke about you really should have stolen the whole book. The warnings come after the spell, and then you have Wong start laughing for the first time.
Good one. It's a good payoff to a setup that we were complaining about. Like, I just took the whole book. That probably wouldn't have been a good idea. He probably would have just stopped the movie. He probably looked at it like, ew, that's maybe I reconsider this.
And then he's able to use the time stone to reset the time, rebuild the sanctum. But my only question is, the New York sanctum wasn't destroyed. So even though they destroyed the Hong Kong sanctum, just because they attacked the New York sanctum, I feel like that wouldn't affect it. But that's never explained exactly.
Yeah, I don't think they don't really get into that too much.
No, they don't. And I like it after they save the day and they walk away, like, we did it. And this is when you see Mortal he's done. Like, because they violated the natural law and they went against what he believed in, and he found out that the person he looked up to was not what he thought she was. He has to walk away. Like, again, like you were saying before, bill comes due.
That's it. Yeah, his sense of personal morality has been violated, and he doesn't believe you should mess around with this stuff. He's like, you won, but you did so by violating the very rules that this organization stands for. And if you're willing to do that to save the day, then I can't be a part of it. And then he's got an anger. He's been betrayed. He feels betrayed by sorcery and this entire organization. So he just goes off. And again, this is a failing in him and not seeing the bigger picture, in that the world would have been destroyed by the giant CGI face.
Yeah.
But, hey, sometimes you got to break a few eggs if you're making an omelet. But he does not believe in that. He probably thought we could have done something else. Hong Kong's gone. Oh, well, hopefully we can save something else, wherever. But yeah, that's his morality. And he goes off and becomes, I guess, villainous. He would clearly be villainous because what we see in the mid-credit scene. But before that, we get to our epilogue when Strange is in New York. He returns the time stone begrudgingly.
But he has it next time you see him. So
yeah,
I guess
he has free access to it. But I think Wong's point is, like, Wong actually says it's probably not a good idea to wear an Infinity Stone around your neck at all times. Like, probably here.
But I think he has it when Infinity War starts, because that's why Thanos comes to New York, if I remember, or why not Thanos, but whoever comes to New York, if I remember correctly.
For sure.
It's been we still thankfully have a few movies before we get there.
Thankfully.
We have 4 more movies before we get to Infinity War.
Man, long. You've been doing this a while, fellas.
Yes, we have.
But they're not good until Black Panther.
I don't know. I haven't seen Black Panther, and it's been forever.
He's lying. Just take it that way. There's one bad movie and 3 really good movies.
No.
Oh, yeah, I know you don't like that.
There is one bad movie, but it's not the same one you're talking about. We got some interesting episodes coming up, folks.
Yeah, he's not a fan of Thor Ragnarok. But okay, and when he's in New York, he puts on the watch, and he still has the watch that Rachel gave him.
It's very sweet. It has I think we finally see the underside, and I forget what was written on the underside of the watch.
Something about time.
Yes.
time will show you how much I love you or something like that.
Yep.
Because she was a time traveler's wife, so of course she wrote something about time.
Oh, jeez.
I never seen that movie, unfortunately, yet. I've always wanted to, though.
Oh, she dates the Hulk in that movie.
Well, a Hulk. One of the 3 Hulks. And then you get the first. Then you get the credits. Still no fucking title card, but
Comes
you
right
get
after.
the credits.
Comes right after the credit starts, and you get credit starts and then the title card.
I like how that's became a thing in the show because of me. Because I have a thing for title cards.
I have a thing. You have a thing for Scarlett Johansson title cards, and what did we learn during Sin City? Something about like S&M.
yeah. Yeah.
Leather, I think it was it. Yeah. So we've learned a lot about Mike during this series.
We'll stick with leather. We'll go with leather right now. I forgot about. Yeah, no, I completely forgot I said that.
I didn't. I've been saving that little one in my pocket. You kidding me?
When I did the edit of that, that's still in the episode. I didn't edit it out, but when I did the edit of that episode, it took me like a month to edit that thing.
Oh, really?
Just because I just didn't do it.
Oh, I thought you meant it was just brutal and you took a while. Anyway,
I mean, again, with like these, for those that listen to the show, the MCU, we record these movies episodes so far in advance just to have them done so I don't have to rush it. I work on other stuff, but the first mid-credit scene really bugs me because I don't when I first saw it, I thought it was super cool where you have Doctor Strange is talking to Thor and Thor's like, hey, I don't, how he doesn't like the fact that Loki is here. And it's cool, but he also has the gloves on that Doctor Strange wears. And he doesn't have the Eye of Agamotto either, which he's supposed to have. But it bugs me because it's just actually just a scene from the later movie. I like it when I don't like when they do that. I like it to be a brand new scene that connects the movies, not a scene that's from another movie. You just put it earlier just to get people excited.
Is this from another movie?
This is from Ragnarok.
Oh, see, I don't remember. Man, I remember so little from Ragnarok. I remember liking it. I saw it on my phone across 2 or 3 lunch breaks at work. So I don't remember a lot of it, to be honest. This might be like a new viewing. Okay, because I'm looking at like, where does this fit? Because it's about finding Odin. What? Where? Ooh.
Missing him and Loki come down and they meet up with Doctor Strange. They have this little scene, but I just don't like scenes like that.
They got kind of lazy with their
I think they only do it
movies because Ant-Man did the same thing where it was something from Civil War.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Do it after this though.
I don't remember
last time, but we'll find out because it's been a while. But after you have that little scene, then you have the actual like kicker of this movie at the very end of the credits, where Mordo shows up to Pangborn and pretty much just kills him to take his power.
Yeah.
Yes, there are too many sorcerers, so he takes the magic from Pangborn, which he uses to walk, so he just crumples to the ground. Which
is so scary and creepy. And I love, again, actors whose name I can't pronounce, who's very good, and I apologize if for some random reason, multiverse, you're listening to this. His face is chilling. Like, it's chilling. It's got this almost pained look to his face, but it's also this so determined, like the world has too many sorcerers. Oh boy, that is chilling. And I'm assuming he's going to be the villain, I'm sure, in Multiverse.
I hope not. I hope that they put him in This is my prediction. I don't think it's going to come true. This is what I want. He's in Multiverse of Madness, but he just kind of plays like a supporting villain. And in the third movie, when they do a third one, they make him the villain to end the trilogy. That's what I want personally. Because I feel like Multiverse of Madness, there are many people you can pull from that I don't know of, that I don't know Doctor Strange comic, but I guarantee you there's got to be somebody they can pull from that would be the perfect villain besides him for that movie.
Is there going to be is there going to be 2 Strange movies in Phase 4?
They haven't said.
Okay. I thought they announced all of them for 4.
Yeah, they didn't. Phase 4 only has the one Doctor Strange movie. Actually, Phase 4 is mostly not even movies. It's mostly TV shows.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Real quick. Phase 4 is Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man 3, Thor, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Then it's a TV series, WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk.
Are those all series?
Like 6-episode series, yes.
Oh, Jesus, okay.
Like mini movies, essentially.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually okay with that.
And
I'm actually looking forward to Winter Soldier and Falcon.
And What If is animated. So it's not... I don't consider it really there, but Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Loki, those will all be Falcon Winter Soldier, like stuff that continues on. And WandaVision we're supposed to get in 2020. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, we already got WandaVision.
And I know that she's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie, too. They've already announced.
I'm so excited for that. I really like her.
Yep.
Another one. I think she's great. I think her whole thing of Scarlet Witch is just great.
I agree. She's overpowered. She's a good device to move movies along, but she's a very good actress. And I'm looking forward to WandaVision. I might actually watch these things. I don't watch TV, but I may. Except I watch some TV. But
after we get done with this, after Phase 4 is done in a couple years from now, maybe we'll go back and do Phase 4. I don't know, but
maybe.
It won't. I can tell you right now, it will not be right when Phase 4 starts. It will be a while. Once we finish all these and they all come out, hopefully in 2021, my goal, I'm done for a while.
Hey, when movies are all releasing straight to Disney Plus, it would make it a lot easier for us to do them right away.
By the time you hear this, I should be in the midst of my podcast series, so I don't know if I'll be doing much of anything else.
Plug that in the beginning. I'll have to plug it in the end.
That's all right. You don't have to. It's okay.
Because it's not there yet. Can we record these so far in advance?
It doesn't exist yet. No.
Any last thing to say about Doctor Strange before we introduce next movie?
No, just shelf and box, I guess.
Okay. All right, you do shelf and box first, then we do. What the hell am I saying? Shelf or box? God.
Listen.
It's only if somebody had this written down in notes in his phone to the left of him, he could have opened up and looked at. But nah.
We started early today. We'll give you a pass this week.
Yeah, we started early. All right, go for it.
All right, I'll go first. This is going on the shelf. I enjoyed this movie a lot the first time I saw it. Saw it? What the hell was I saying? Saw it. I don't know what I was trying to say. I think I was trying to say saw it, and saw it somehow I think is what might have almost came out. I'm not sure. Right. First time I saw it, I enjoyed it. When I watched it on Netflix a couple of years ago, I enjoyed it again. When I watched it this third time, I enjoyed it. When I watched it this fourth time during the recording, I still enjoyed it. It's going on the shelf. I really like this movie. I mean, Rachel McAdams is not her, but I really like this movie. I like Benedict Cumberbatch. I think this movie it's not my top Marvel movie or anything like that. Not nowhere near, but it makes me feel good. I have a good time. Heroes aren't fighting each other. So it's a good movie. So it's going on the shelf. How about you, Mike?
This is one of the very few. Man, I must have got out of MCU for a while because some of Phase 3 I didn't see in theaters. I didn't see this until it came to Netflix. It's fine. It's another origin movie just to introduce a character that's going to play a bigger part later in the MCU, which, that's kind of how things go. Special effects are cool, but the plot wasn't enough to keep me going. I think I need to put this in the box. Because like I said, the very start of this whole thing, it's reserved for the upper echelon of MCU movies, and I just don't think this fits the bill that comes due, as Morta would tell me.
McAdams is not going to be in the next movie.
Oh.
Wow, how are you going to do that?
Maybe she's getting her own movie as the Night Nurse.
Nah, is she? No, she's not the Night Nurse, though. That's, God.
There were three, according to Wikipedia, there were three characters named Night Nurse.
Okay, the one, because I know another one that was Night Nurse was in the Daredevil show that's played by the girl, the bondage girl, the dominatrix girl in Sin City. I can't remember her name. Rosario Dawson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. We closed that loop.
Yeah, really. Wow. They came full circle.
Okay. I didn't expect the box, but I shouldn't be surprised. Because you have bad taste in MC movies in Phase 3, I'm finding out, so it's okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
I can't wait until next week.
No. Okay. Or that won't be next week.
Next
episode for us.
Oh.
Unless you guys want to. But that's how about you, Bill?
It's interesting. I've still now subscribed to Michael's opinion on the shelf or box, because having that kind of like yay or nay is interesting, because the shelf is short and limited, but the box is vast. Now, you can put things in the box if the boxes are never ending, but my shelf is rarefied. Based on that, this is a B-level Marvel movie. It's good. I really enjoy it. I like having a new type of world. This mysticism in the Marvel universe is very interesting. It's not just space demons and super suits and super soldiers and war dudes and army guys. This is a very interesting world that I really like. I think the effects are very novel I keep saying for the time. It was 4 years ago. This wasn't 2008, right? The effects are really cool. I do think it does disservice to the action to a certain extent, but for the most part, the action's a lot of fun. There's some dumb points, but it's a movie and it's going to happen. For the most part, I enjoy this movie quite a bit. I'm going to put it on the shelf because I don't want to forget it exists. Because if it goes in the box, I'm going to forget about it. This is something I would like to have, but I guess on the shelf that's high. I don't have to reach for it. It's not something I'm going to see. I'm going to dust it every 6 weeks and say, "Oh, Doctor Strange, cool," and then put it back. I don't really see it. Yeah, so it's going to go on the shelf because I like it enough to make it there, but it had to be a pretty big shelf for it to exist. So I like this movie quite a bit. And you know what? Benedict Cumberbatch, just your dreamy cheekbones and your excellent acting just makes me swoon. So I'm a fan. Shelf.
I might have to watch that animated one again. It's been a while. See how it compares.
Good, I remember.
Yeah, I remember liking it too, and the Iron Man one.
Yeah, that's not good. I watched it once. I remember not liking it, and I've also tried rewatching the Hulk vs. Thor vs. Wolverine. Yeah, that Hulk vs. Thor is not very good either. And do not watch Ultimate Avengers animated film. Do not.
They're fine. Next Avengers is good.
Okay, Next Avengers is good, but the Ultimate one, maybe it's because I think they're assholes to each other, and I just don't like
they are
heroes
that.
fighting heroes. I think they fight each other, and that makes me. That's a thing I've realized throughout this. All right, I'm going to introduce our next episode of this. We are going to be covering Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 next time.
As you've no doubt learned at this point, Mike's got strong feelings about it.
Sure does.
I've seen it once all the way through in theaters. I didn't like it. I watched it on Netflix when Netflix got it about a year ago. I couldn't even finish the movie. Now I have no choice but to finish it for next time we do this, so we'll see. Maybe I'll be surprised and I'll think it's the best movie ever. No. I doubt it. You never know.
I'm looking forward to my third or fourth rewatching of this. I've saw it in theaters, loved it. Saw it on Netflix, loved it again. And then, oh no, this will be my third watching. I own it on Blu-ray. This is the last Marvel Blu-ray I own because I think it was on my list for 2 years, and then finally, someone for Christmas just got it for me. Finally,
they must not like it.
No. It's one of those, everyone has their Amazon list for family who still buy you presents. You're like, here, just get me something I'm going to get for myself at some point. So that was one of those. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to analyzing the soundtrack again.
I'm okay
kind
with
of going through the soundtrack. That'll going to be a lot of fun. I don't remember the soundtrack to this at all.
I don't remember it being nearly as good as the first one.
No, neither do I. So it'll be interesting to go through it because the soundtracks to these films are very important to the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So looking forward to seeing this again. And hopefully my wife can join me. Maybe by this time our kid is actually sleeping more than 3 hours at a stretch because she has not joined me for the last couple because, we have a newborn. That newborn doesn't care about our schedule. Cares about only her own. So
yep, that's the joys of newborns.
It's just what it is. So hopefully I'm sleeping more than 5 hours a day. So, but 5 hours isn't bad for a 7-week-old. So anyway,
actually,
yeah, it's not actually that bad.
My son didn't know what sleep was. It's like, sleep? No, I only sleep when you hold me and we walk back and forth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I scream at you.
Yeah, you said your kid was, oh, yeah, it's right here. Oh, man.
He had meningitis and we didn't know it at first. So the first few months of his brain trying to come outside of his head were not very fun for him or me.
Oh, my God. I told my wife about that. This is off topic, but I told my wife about, Mike's child had meningitis and she went, oh,
yeah.
Exactly what you were talking about.
It was our third or fourth ER visit in different days. And they said he has meningitis. I remember and they were going to do the spinal thing to check to see if he had it, where they go into his spine. And I'm like, I have to leave. I had to go sit in the car. I could not be in that room when they did that. I'm like, I can't do this.
No, Jesus.
Yeah. So when I went into the ER there a couple months ago, they suspected I might have had it, so they had to test for that. And it felt like having a barbed fish hook shoved into your spine, and they kind of twisted around a little bit. It's not good.
Did you tell them your favorite movie was Hulk when they do the abomination?
Yeah, man. Make me Abomination.
So the next time I stub my toe and go, son of a bird, I should think about perspective, Bill. Just relax.
It's not great. They did it twice. So they're like, yeah, we can't find what we're looking for. You think you could do it one more time? I'm like, just get it over with. Do it.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but my favorite thing about pediatric medicine, I think pediatric medicine, unless you have like a meningitis or something, is useless because every time we go in with something, it's like, oh, that's normal. That's fine. It's fine. Yeah, she keeps spitting up a lot. Oh, is she complaining? No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. She'll grow out of that. It's no big deal. She actually has an issue where she has this horrendous rash. Like it's really hurting her. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just throw some cream on there. It's good. She's growing horns and a tail and breathing fire. I'm really concerned. Oh no, she'll grow out of that. We call that halitosis. It's by the time she's 4 months, the hole will close up. It's good.
I love what he's not wrong though.
We went to the heart doctor. My wife yesterday went to the heart doctor, and they're like, she has a little tiny hole in her heart, but don't worry about it. It's fine. It should seal up. We're not concerned. No one's worried. Just hole in her heart. It's fine. It'll seal up on its own. It's good. everything is just handwoven by pediatric doctors. But anyway, complete side conversation. Complete side conversation.
At the end of the show, that's fine. People,
you're just gonna cut this out. That's fine.
Know what we're about at this point.
Snip this out. It's fine.
I won't. But all right, and Bill, why don't you give a plug to your podcast that will be live at this point?
That's right. Hopefully this is, me plugging it on this show 6 months in advance is actually inspiring me to actually do it. Because at this moment, it's like I still need to schedule interviews. I think I have a Twitter account I made. I don't know. Like I'm just dragging my feet. So this is going to spur me on to get some work done. The show's called A Gamer Looks at 40. 2021 is going to be my 40th year on this planet. And I rarely delve into the world of nostalgia. I'm not a nostalgic person, but I figured I would look back on my history of games, 1 episode or 1 year per episode. It's the history of games as told through the people who lived it. It's a show with stories and recollections. We're not going to tell you that Mario 2 was Doki Doki Panic. We're not going to, go through those well-worn knowledge bases, but it's just going to be about stories from people, like where they were when Mario was released. The game experiences that shapes our lives as we kind of live our lives involved in this hobby, in this medium. It's going to be pretty neat. Again, 1 episode per 1 year per episode. There's going to be some special ones sprinkled in. I'm going to do 1 episode just on Mario because Mario is a landmark moment, and I think people have a lot of experience with that. I want to do one on the rise of the MMORPG, because a lot of people experience their first communities in that world, fighting games, that kind of thing. So it's probably going to last longer than a year based on how I want to do it, but looking forward to it. Hopefully it's in progress. So A Gamer Looks at 40, wherever you find your podcast of choice.
And there will be links in the show notes as long as he gets me a link at the time. And I still remember in 6 months when this comes out.
I will probably not let you forget it. So
I won't forget it either. I have surprisingly, like when we go back and I read it and I republish episodes, I can remember what to plug from, even though I haven't heard it. So again, I have never been in love the way I am with this podcast. So hey, it's a weird thing.
You hear that, Tiff?
She knows. She knows. It's like I have never been this passionate about a project, and I've been doing this after everything that's gone through with this show and all the ups and downs. Like it's something that if I can make a living off podcasting and just entertain, I wouldn't want to do my own. I would want to make a living off working for someone else if they keep paying me. But I have found my passion in life. It will never happen, but I found my passion.
It may never happen. You never know, right? Come on. By this time, hey, this is released in March. You could be, just monetizing and telling us all how we should use Dollar Shave Club between episodes.
If I was monetizing the show and making making the real money, I still wouldn't stop working because I'd be too worried to have my whole income off something that could change.
Hey, listen, you know what? Sometimes you gotta jump off the ledge in order to land on your feet. Wow, that was something off of a motivational poster or a fortune cookie. That belonged in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin or the Mandalorian or whatever the hell his name was.
I like how you combined Iron Man 3 and Star Wars just now. That was good.
That's what I do. I can't divorce the two.
Mandarin, we got the Mandalorian. So okay. All right, and if you enjoyed this episode, we have tons of other MCU episodes. Definitely check those out. Please subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't yet, where I post the episode, just the episode. There's no video content, but subscribe anyway because we need subscribers. And we also
they are not the movies.
No, people think they are.
They're not the movies.
And people will download people will go and view the Hulk episode and give me a thumbs down because I did not post the movie. I posted a podcast episode, and they're upset. But it says podcast in the title. If you can't figure that out, I can't help you. And the Hulk movie is on YouTube as the time of this recording. Is it still there? Who knows? But it was there. I found it. It's terrible quality, but it's there. I couldn't believe when I found it. But all right, enough of that. So if you enjoyed this, go check those out. We do game episodes every week. We do comic episodes sometimes. Definitely check all those out too. We have tons of different episodes that if you enjoy, will keep you nice and busy. And hey, it only will take you a year, 2 years of listening to episodes every day to get caught up with the show at this point. Ask what my friend did it. It can happen. It helped me get a driving job, but he did it.
Yeah, what's cool about the show though is it's all game episodes, so you can just pick and choose the ones you want to listen to, and if there's some that you have no connection to, or you just don't. But yeah, it's neat to listen to Mike and Michael and a rotating cast of characters chat about the games that they dig, which is cool.
It definitely is a rotating cast of characters, that's for sure. And if you enjoy, so definitely check out. We are anywhere you get your podcast. Definitely go check out Bill's podcast that hasn't been created, but will be created by the time you hear this.
Yes, it will.
Now it's in radio. You can't take it back.
That's it. It's exactly. I can't take it back now. Right.
Michael. Even if he, so definitely check him out. And please give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bubby, aka Mike Stoney from ZP Bite the Bullets, Talking to Cool Kid Squad. Definitely give him a listen and subscribe to his YouTube channel too. And I follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And I think that's all I need to say tonight. We will see you guys all next week. And somehow this 2-hour episode is almost 3 hours. So hey,
editing.
I told myself, this will only be a 2-hour episode.
Yep, I thought that too.
Yeah, but it's us. All right, we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.